I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
Can you first talk to us about whether the reporting in the New York Times and in other outlets is correct that President Biden is considering stepping off of the Democratic ticket?
The New York Times reporting is absolutely wrong, and it's been consistently wrong. The president has said that he is running, and it's the end of story. And so he was just out here in Nevada talking to the NAACP, and he is running his campaign along with the vice president.
You know what you never heard?
What's that?
You know what you didn't hear in that whole thing?
What?
No.
Well, you mean that what that guy you're talking about just now?
Yep. He literally did not deny. He said the New York Times reporting is wrong.
Is wrong.
Well, of course it's wrong. They've been wrong hundreds and thousands of times since 1939 or whatever, since forever. And then he said Joe Biden's running his campaign. Well, that wasn't the question, is it?
Oh, like they're going to tell this guy, like he's this guy's on the inner circle of everything. This particular cat. Give me a break, Eric. As I said over a year ago, this has to be by political rationale. No matter what side you're on, no matter what you believe, the thing has to be denied until it's not. You can't have it both ways. In other words, you can't say, well, I might be in, I might be out, I don't know. You have to deny it until you make the final decision. And then it was kind of like gay marriage with Obama. One day he wakes up and he's in favor of gay marriage. Every single Obama pundit said they changed their mind themselves overnight. It's the closest thing I could think of to what's happening right now.
Yeah, but he's not even denying it, is all I'm saying.
Right, yeah. No, the New York Times is a right-wing propaganda rag who just has it out for him. They've never been correct, the New York Times, about anything, according to this much.
Oh, yeah. And he couldn't even say the New York Times. It was like, he couldn't even say the New York Times. He was kind of, he's like,
well, the next step is going to be like, Hunter Biden's wrong. He's not stepping down. Jill Biden is wrong. He's not stepping down. He's wrong himself. He's not stepping down. How far does this go, Eric?
I don't know, but we'll probably find out Sunday, I think.
Yeah, I think Halpern's reporting. It's so funny because Halpern yesterday at the convention reported that he's going to go by the weekend. This is the same Halpern whose family is extremely deep state, going back to communist 1950s. Halpern is, I think, the highest paid pundit on Newsmax with the most gravitas. 2 days ago and 3 days ago and 4 days ago, he kept laughing and snickering at other people on the show who were saying that Biden's going to go. All of a sudden yesterday, somebody must have called him up from inside the White House, Eric, who explained in all the details of how this is going to work.
And he's like, oh, you know what? I think Biden may go.
Well, he said, I got an inside scoop. To his credit, it's not like he changed his mind politically. Somebody actually laid it out to him at a very high level, as he said. So, it could be Sunday night, could be Saturday night. It doesn't really matter. They've got a month to pull this off. Clyburn himself, out of South Carolina, said he's in favor of a mini primary. I don't know what a mini primary is, but if you listen to Halpern's reporting, it's going to be an open convention. It's not the end of the world. They've had open conventions before. You have a first round, a second round, a third round of voting. If there's no majority, if there's no consensus, as Halpern reported, you now go to the super duper secret delegates, and they put their hands down, and then it's over. And if you have a Joe Biden saying, I am not going to endorse Kamala Harris, and he's not saying, according to Halpern, I am not saying who I'm endorsing, I will believe it might be a certain governor of the state of California. Call me crazy. They said I was crazy a year ago when I laid this out, and now everybody's freaking saying it.
I noticed that, though, and I couldn't help but think when I saw he was going to endorse an open convention that that's how he's going to do it. Because
I
he
didn't see that coming. Yeah,
I did not see that.
Yeah.
We were thinking that he would endorse Gavin. That's actually slicker. Just saying, you know what?
Absolutely.
It's so late in the game. I'm going to have to let my fellow Democrats decide what is best for them. I'm not going to put my foot on the scale or finger on the scale.
I agree with you, but I think ultimately, as if you look back at his comments about Gavin Newsom being his successor when he's been visiting the state of California, which was I was monitoring very closely the past 2, 3, 4, 5 trips where he comes out here for the donor base. If you read between the lines, he has endorsed Newsom to be his successor. It's not even reading between the lines. He's basically said it. And I think he will do it here. They have to let it look like it's not a smoke-filled back room, Eric, right? What
I just learned from you now, though, a minute ago, I did not know, is that Clyburn's going along with this.
Clyburn on July.
Is the one who told Biden, you will have this type of person. So that's very.
Clyburn's statement is 6 days old, so it's not related to this. Clyburn was the #1 guy in favor of the mini primary. So it was said on July 3rd. If you just to get the timeline straight, Clyburn didn't respond to this. Clyburn was the major guy in favor of the mini primary, and then other people jumped on board the mini primary idea. So there's that. There's also Halpern reporting that she, meaning Kamala Harris, is looking for a running mate. So now she's on the blower, calling up apparently the governor of Kentucky and the governor, I think his name is Shapiro out of Pennsylvania. 2 of the names that were mentioned yesterday for her running mate. Whitmer and Newsom were not mentioned because they may be a team themselves with a president vice presidential situation, combining the working class situation out of Michigan and the leading governor of the state's Gavin Newsom. That might be a ticket by itself, Eric, in my crazy mind. Yeah, because those are the only 2 who were not mentioned. And why you were not mentioned those 2 indicates something to me. But something
what about the Mark Kelly wild card that got thrown out there? That
I don't know what that is. I think Arizona does not have a national base, and you know for sure that Mark Kelly does not have a national base. Whitmer does, Newsom does. I don't know about these 2 governors, Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, and the guy Brashears, whatever his name is, out of Kentucky. But she needs somebody who's not going to upstage her minimal personality and mental state. So she's really got to go with a low non-personality person in her imaginary ticket.
Well, there's lots of them in the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Idiots.
But I mean, she covers the woman ethnic branch, and now you got to go white male.
Sure.
White, lefty, liberal male who is a mousy kind of cat. Kind of like that guy.
Her husband?
Her husband, maybe. or the guy out of Delaware, I forget his name, who replaced Biden in the Senate, who's Biden's main man. Maybe somebody in the chat knows what I'm talking about.
Well, maybe Mark Kelly would be her.
Mark Kelly, I don't know. He's an astronaut. She's kind of on a trip to the moon herself, so maybe who knows?
Sure. Everybody keeps saying Big Mike. No, Michelle
Obama. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, people. It's unbelievable. These people lock onto a thing like a pit bull, and no matter what you say to them, it's got to be Big Mike. Or the same thing happened with Oprah a number of years ago. Remember, it was just this nonstop obsession that Oprah is going to run.
Yeah,
nonstop.
There's a reason Oprah's a billionaire. She's smart.
She's smart, and she's not. These people don't want day jobs. Would you? I mean, it's insane. They don't want a day job. They go to the beach all day, for Christ's sakes.
That's like people saying, Tucker Carlson for press secretary. It's like, why would he take that kind of demotion?
What a huge drop in prestige that would be. I mean,
Oh, no kidding.
That job's a grind, bro. That's a grindy job.
Oh, especially with Biden.
I would do it. I would love to do it on the other side. That would be a lot of fun. I don't know how much of the convention you saw yesterday, but I think the speech went on for 3.5 hours, and it reminded me of some Soviet Politburo speech. I took a bath, came back, he was still speaking.
Actually, I fell asleep. Leslie took a picture of me. It's blackmailing, but and I brought it up earlier, and the problem is that I don't think he's on his game yet, and I don't blame him at all. And people are like, for God's sake, he almost got killed. Yes, 100%. But it wasn't his strongest speech. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
It was,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They've got the Big Mo. Everything's rolling. They got this guy Vance, the never Trumper, who's now a Trumper. The Trump is Hitler. Now Trump is Gandhi. I don't know where he is politically. His wife, of course, was a Democrat up until 3 minutes ago. I think she changed in 2022, the Indian wife. The whole couple suspect. I'll tell you that right now. I could see them turning on him 3.5 years from now, like somebody out of Indiana did. So I don't trust this guy as far as I could see him. I think you agree. You had your own Vivek you were interested in. And I was interested in Kerry Lake, and
Nunez is kind of who I was really thinking about for loyalty and stability and kind of being right there, and even kind of a quasi minority being Portuguese.
There were hundreds of thousands of people who did not call you Hitler, who could have been chosen. He chose the cat who called him a cultural Hitler. Not my best choice. Even if you changed your opinion. I couldn't trust you because you called me a cultural Hitler 5 minutes ago. I'm sorry. And maybe he has completely changed. But how can you take a chance after you went through this Mike Pence fiasco?
And by the way, folks, Mark and I both read his book. I like his book. I haven't seen the movie.
I love the book. I've seen the movie. The movie sucks. The book's great.
Yeah, I've heard that too, that the movie is bad.
The movie's really bad. The movie's really bad. Got like 25% of Rotten Tomatoes and justifiably so. But the book is fantastic. It's a great story. I mean, don't get me wrong, but you got 2 Yale law school graduates, the husband and wife, sitting there all freaking night thinking about how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that. When are we going to be president? What if he dies? What if he gets shot again? All day and night, they're going to be thinking and talking about this, the couple. And it's a little much. It's just a little much. I'm sorry. I got a bad feeling about it. I hope I'm wrong, but I
mean, I like Vance as a person. It's kind of he's a great senator. I don't know. I mean, and he may turn out well. I will sit back and say that it's very possible. I mean, Barnes loves him. Viva loves him. A lot of people do. He's got the populist vibe going, which is cool. But, and there is the argument people have made that he's used to arguing with an Indian female already at home. So maybe
complete denunciation, completely denounced by Rand Paul yesterday as a neocon and a warmonger. I recommend that people look at Rand Paul. Oh, yeah. I watched the whole thing. And Rand Paul completely decimated this guy yesterday on his channel.
Wow.
So if you like Rand Paul, and you don't like and you like Vance, you may have a problem.
Yeah, but hopefully, I understand, that people flip, and I get that. Mark hasn't always been the same place politically.
That's right. But I'm not the VP candidate.
True, and hopefully, seeing combat firsthand, like Vance has done, will help. Influences Forever War's position, that he's against it now. I don't want him to be like I Patch McCain out of Texas.
Well, Rand Paul quoted him saying the first thing he said when he got nominated, we got to punch Iran in the nose and go after Iran. And Rand Paul dissects all this stuff about him and Iran. So don't be so sure, Eric.
I'm really concerned about Iran right now because I don't think that they are behind that shit at all. No, I think that was a pure smoke screen about the assassination.
I think the water tower is a smokescreen too. These you have to be careful.
For saying that, because I don't want to go and stick my head
No,
out there
I
yet.
am. I don't care. I mean, look. I mean, people. You got to be careful about phony conspiracy theories. That's why I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. It took us 60 years to get where we are with the Kennedy assassination. This is 60 hours, and they think that they've got this thing figured out. It may not take 60 years, but it certainly isn't going to take 60 hours, just to put that out there. So, people now putting out audio tracks of bullets. How do I know that's even real? With right, Eric? I mean, these guys are putting out audio tracks saying there's 9 bullets, 12 bullets. I don't know if the guy added a sound to an audio track 5 minutes ago. There's so many grifters on the internet, Eric, who are trying to get clicks.
I wanted to run something by you, and I didn't get a chance to offline, but screw it. I'll put it out there. You've talked about how, CIA and groups like that, they let books go out and they're like 99% true or 98%. They only twist one fact or one tweak that screws everything up. Well, I thought about it earlier and I was like, with all of the known disastrous decisions that were made, obvious, horrible situations on the ground, the kid on the bike, he's got a rangefinder, all these things, they're absolutely factual. Nobody's questioning them.
Right.
What's the best thing you could do to throw some shit into the thing? Talk about a water tower.
Second shooter, water tower.
Yeah. And so now you have people focusing on, and I'm going, okay, I'm not going to rule it out completely because time could go on and we may go, oh shit, there it is. There's that evidence that, but let's just take it off the table for a second and say, isn't there enough here? Isn't there
more than enough here? Right. There's more than enough here.
Destroy every part of the government. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened yet. I'm still trying to collect facts. I'm trying to be sober.
And rightfully so. And I'm trying to be sober about it and not be conspiratorial and just take what we have now and look for some more. Because like I said, everybody at 2 hours, 18 hours, 3 days after the JFK assassination thought they had this figured out. Everybody in 3 days, 6 days, 8 days. And people say, well, Mark, now we've got cameras in our phones. Big effing deal. They had tons of 8mm cameras back then. I mean, and they ran around, the deep state adjusts for the technology of their era. The deep state is not living in 1963. The deep state is living in 2024. Yes, they understand you have cell phone cameras. That's why they're doing it the way they did it, whatever that is. I mean, I looked at that video of a shadow on top of the water tower. There's nothing there. I'm sorry. I looked at 18 different videos of this thing. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not saying anything, but there's certainly enough meat on the bone, as Eric said, for the rangefinder kid on the bike burying the gun somewhere, which he obviously did. There's a lot of meat there to keep people busy.
Well, Tim Kennedy, are you familiar with him? He's a UFC fighter, also Army guy. He's like full-time Army and UFC fighter. He volunteered, went back to Afghanistan again, whatever, real warring time. But he was talking about it. And I think his take, there's something, to be said. He was pointing out that there were 3 basic possible narratives. You have the inside job, you have the lone wolf, and then you have deep state. And he said, what if you kind of like rolled them all around? And they all overlap slightly.
Yeah.
And one inside job, as he said, okay, you hate Trump's guts, right? Why don't you just assign the shittiest people you have to his detail?
I agree. Let me stop you right there, because the feminization of the CIA, which is overwhelmingly now women, have said repeatedly that they hate this guy's guts. The Secret Service agent said she would not take a bullet for him. The hatred of the women who have infiltrated and been DEI'd into these positions, just taking the Secret Service and the CIA, is enormous. The amount of hatred that they have for Trump is enormous. So you now have a predetermined opinion of a guy that you're supposed to be guarding. The head of the CIA is a woman. The head of the Secret Service is a woman. And you go, well, Mark, they're equal. They're all equal. Not in hatred of Trump, they're not equal.
No.
They're not equal in the hatred of this man. That dog won't hunt. So Eric may be onto something here.
Right. I was just thinking about, like, let's say you're working in the store and you hate all the customers and you hate the people. You just deliberately don't mop the floor.
Right. That's a good analogy.
Let that spill stay.
Yeah.
Let's
and
see
it goes,
what happens.
How about the people? How about what's his name? Jesse Jackson spitting in people's food when he was working in as a short order cook. He would spit in white people's food. Why do we know that? Because he told us so. There's plenty of things that people do that we don't know about through hatred or misguided hatred of some other group or some person.
Yeah. And let's say, and I'm not going to say this is true or not, but if you set that up, you hire put the people in place who can't stand down or unqualified or whatever else.
Right.
And what if somebody said, kid's got a rangefinder. Let's go see what happens.
It's like winding up a toy. It's like winding up a toy and then letting it go. It's like winding up something that Jen's going to jump around like the ever ready bunny. Once you put all these things in place, something's going to give. And look, like Trump said, these guys got to him pretty fast. His detail on the stage, and the two snipers. One team apparently pulled to Pittsburgh for Jill Biden. The Secret Service director is a pick of Jill Biden. Who the hell is Jill Biden to be doing all this stuff? Is she, as Eric and I have said, been running this government like Edith Wilson did for Woodrow Wilson for the past 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, 3 years? We have no freaking idea. There's video of her on Air Force One going over her notes for the G7 conference. Give me a break. Is this woman running the show? And if so, is she the one on top of the Secret Service chief who won't resign, who, by the way, will appear on Monday morning before the United States Congress, in case people haven't heard about this yet.
Which, by the way, that Secret Service person was on her detail before.
Right. That's right.
The vice presidential times.
That's right.
So, but you know what? There's actually a cartoon going around put together by somebody in a foreign country that I think may describe what actually happened here. So let's
take a look. What do you got here?
Let's check this out.
That's funny.
The only building in front of the stage. That building. Maybe not. How maybe not? You think it's necessary? I see a guy moving on the roof. The usual guys. Boss is very suspicious. He might be doing a parkour. He's lying down flat on his stomach. He's probably resting after doing parkour. He's looking towards Trump. Maybe the Trump fan tried to get a better view of him. Okay, he's pulled out a rifle. A rifle. Definitely a rifle. Can you tell if it's a real rifle? How I know if it's real? Maybe it's fake and we are worrying for nothing. It's a real rifle. Very strange. Boss, awaiting your orders. Do you see any clay pigeon shooting devices? I don't think he's practicing shooting clay pigeons. We need to be sure, Frank. Boss, now he's aiming towards Trump. Can you see his expression? What expression? His facial expression. He seems to be mad. I don't know, boss. Or is he looking at him admirably? I can't tell. Maybe it's just using the rifle scope to get a better look. Boss, if we don't act now, he will shoot him. Stay calm, Frank. I don't think. He's shooting, boss. Holy cow. He's still shooting. What do I do? Are you sure you don't see any clay pigeons around? No clay pigeons. All right, in that case, fire a warning shot immediately. We couldn't have known, Frank. We did everything we could. Some things are just unpredictable. An attack on a presidential candidate and the guy shooting. This is not the U.S. I know.
I thought that was brilliant.
Wow, it's really brilliant. Where'd that come out of? Bulgaria, Russia, or?
I don't know. Somebody posted on X, and I clipped that
wow, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Because I really think this may not be that far from.
It's not that far off, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Well, let's see what happened in the other news, because so many things happened. People died. People always die during this time that never get any coverage. Richard Simmons died, no coverage. And then what's her name? The actress died of cancer at the age of 53.
Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart is the third celebrity. That's number 3.
And Lou Dobbs.
Lou Dobbs, I don't consider Hollywood, but yeah, I loved Lou Dobbs.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm saying there was 3 Hollywood people.
Okay, but yeah, so Shannon Doherty.
Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, and Bob Newhart. Bob Newhart, I wasn't a huge fan of Bob Newhart, but Bob Newhart literally invented the comedy album even before Mort Saul. Yeah. The Bob Newhart comedy albums, he I don't say invented him, but he was the one that had Grammy level sales of gold record sales of comedy albums back in the day. He worked clean with a Midwestern tinge to it, and was apolitical in these comedy albums, and that opened the door to more selling comedy albums, not comedy wise, but back in the day, that was the way that you heard comics, was through comedy albums, and nobody sold more comedy albums than him.
Yeah, he set like all kinds of records, and didn't he have like
I thought so.
number one and number one and number two, like in the same week?
Yeah.
He just, I mean, he came out of nowhere,
right?
And nobody's been that way or done.
Well,
it
he was also
like that.
he was also Papa Elf in the movie Elf, which might remember him from that movie.
Or how about two shows bearing his name? Bob Newhart Show and Newhart. I mean, how many people have that? Where it's like they're so big that they have a show bearing their name. It's like, well, you know what? We're going to bring it back, a new one with your name.
Yeah, I mean, it's Seinfeld level. I mean, Seinfeld was, I think, #1 show for about 10 years. Newhart at that level in terms of sitcom, success.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
like a Roseanne. I mean, Roseanne started as a stand-up in I guess in Arizona somewhere, Phoenix or whatever, and went to that level of success.
Yeah, well, Roseanne, I have to give Roseanne a lot of credit because she built her own empire, and nobody, no female, and I mean, everybody goes female right away, but she did that on her own. She built that out. She built out the show. The show is her. It's her life. It's all about her, and she's genuinely pretty damn funny.
I wish we had the tape of the girl sang the national anthem for Home Run Derby the other night.
Oh God, that she saved Roseanne. The happiest person in the world had to be Roseanne for saying, "I'm the second worst now."
It was it was like a cat screaming, and we were just sitting here with our ears covered watching this. And it turns out the next day she admitted she was drunk and checked into rehab. So I'm rooting for her to come out okay.
I'm rooting for her too because I love she came out and said,
it was unbelievable.
No, I can't bullshit you.
Yeah,
I was drunk.
What was unbelievable also was O'Brien from the Teamsters speaking at the RNC. I mean, you talk about pulling from the Democratic base to have the president of the Teamsters union. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. That being said, there was also a wrestler there. So I was shocked.
Subtle appearance.
By Hulk Hogan. I mean, and then the UFC guy. I mean, it was like, what a cast of characters to have at a convention.
Was it me or was I was like thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, that it felt more like the Democratic convention because they had all these celebrities and everything's upside down.
Everything's upside down, bro.
On that note, I'm curious your thoughts on Amber Rose. Because
I don't know what to make of this thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. There was a huge amount of controversy. And I remember Amber Rose from like 2015, 14, whatever. She was doing the slut walk thing. Very, very lefty out there. I think Lauren Southern helped, make her bones. Lauren Southern of Rebel News, the blonde conservative person, interviewing people during the slut walk. That was, before Trump left.
What is the slut walk?
It was a thing in Los Angeles where kind of like, women some women on the left especially like to brag about, I've had 10 abortions. They go in your face with it. They're like, weird. I'm a slut. How many kills have you had? I can have this, I can have that. And she's, I don't know if she's a full-on porn star, but she's like an OnlyFans. She definitely,
Why? She was there because she had 100 million Twitter followers or something, or 300 million Instagram followers, I guess.
Well, she's, apparently been red-pilled, and a lot of people are like, you're platforming this disgusting, horrible human being, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm in the middle thinking, well, if you want people to change sides and you want to kind of forgive and welcome, then
you got to take everybody.
I mean, I think it's weird, but we've got to sort of accept people who look a little different, maybe who I don't know. That's just my feeling on it.
No, use the Jesus measuring stick. That might help you. That might help. Now, what happened with this IT outage? Tell me what's going on here worldwide. The airports are closed. The banks are down. I mean, I got a report here: global technology outage disrupts airlines, 911 services, everything. What is going on with this thing, Humley?
It's from what I understand, and having worked in the in the IT world, it does happen.
You're from the It Does Happen school, okay?
Well, I mean, yeah, it does, but because you know why?
Why?
It's happened to me. I've literally gotten called to the carpet saying we've lost $2 million this morning. What are you going to do about it? And
go ahead.
If you're putting out a system-wide patch, which is what I understand, they said it was an update or a bug fix or update, whatever.
By CrowdStrike,
right? Which is like a core.
Keep in mind, CrowdStrike was a Russian-owned former Soviet apparatchik who came over here with his father. This was the same CrowdStrike who ended up with the Bernie Sanders. With what?
Didn't they have the server?
They ended up with the server with the Hillary Clinton emails on it. Right. That guy is now on the Council of Foreign Relations. He's an ex-Soviet. He's the son of an ex-Soviet nuclear scientist who defected to the United States. He's married to if I remember my history, I can look it up after the show, but off the top of my head, he's married to the former cyber security head of the Obama administration, a woman that, just so you know who these people are. So it says the technology glitch was caused by a faulty update by CrowdStrike, a U.S. cybersecurity technology company based in Texas, in a single content update for Windows hosts. I think that's what Eric might be talking about.
Correct. And this is the issue that I have with the whole thing. It does happen. I've seen it happen. I've experienced it happening where we do an update or a patch, Windows releases a patch, and all of a sudden all the email is down, all the routers are screwed up, and you're like scrambling to holy shit, get that update down. It'll be something like it'll break DNS. Now what DNS is how a server or how you connect to the internet. So you type in, you go, I want to go to Google, and it'll say, hey, DNS server, what's Google? And they'll say, Google is this set of IPs, and it returns it. So an update might break the DNS server or something. So now everybody's completely blind. They don't know how to communicate anywhere or anything else. Right. Now, does that mean that nothing untoward happened? Does that mean that there couldn't have been somebody who helped it along? Sure. But I just want to point out that it actually does happen, and I've experienced it because we do a shitty job sometimes. We just go, oh, hey, look, there's an update, guys. Click update now.
Well, I agree with you technologically, except for the people involved. And that's where, when you put CrowdStrike into it, then I go in the other direction. Obama famously just made a movie about this. I don't know if people saw it, but the movie had the same premise as to what happened this morning in terms of the glitch. And you've got CrowdStrike and you got the people I just mentioned. So what Eric is talking about is how it can happen. And what I'm trying to say is why it happened. So we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see.
Right. Well, and somebody could have deliberately made it a bad patch.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Sure. There's a million things, but I think that I hope if somebody did do that, they catch them. But I also think that there's a lesson here where there's too much interdependency on single points of failure.
Well, not if you're CrowdStrike. That's what you want. You want to be able to control.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I mean, the desire to control the internet, which they just explained to us that they do, is terrifying. The fact that this intentionally or unintentionally, as you described it, the fact that CrowdStrike could do this intentionally or unintentionally, either one, is terrifying.
By the way, folks, don't sit there and go, well, I'm good with my crypto, because your crypto was fucked.
Something happened to the crypto financially, you mean? Or
well, if you can't get to anything,
it's
digital. Yeah. Tell me how your crypto is going to work. The old man with the gold coin has a gold coin.
I sold all my crypto.
Keep that in mind, folks.
I switched to this crypto, which is my new crypto.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is the only crypto I have is this coin. This is my Doge, my Doge challenge coin, which I recommend everyone get because we're going to be down in Brea, California, which is a beautiful place August 9th and August 10th, Eric and I, and hopefully we'll see you guys down there, because we're going on with a full Nixonian weekend down there. The 9th being the anniversary, of course, the 50th anniversary, 1974 to 2024 of Nixon's resignation on August 9th. So Friday, in a hotel next to the Nixon Library, we're going to be having a live show with people in the audience. We've never done this before, or did we do this before?
We have not done it with a live show that's gone out to YouTube, Rumble,
right. We're
everywhere.
Yeah, we're going to go live, and we're going to have hors d'oeuvres. We're going to have drinks. We're going to have dinner. It's going to be a banquet. And the first night is going to be it's afternoon night, because I'm talking about LA time. It's going to be from 1 to 6 p.m. LA time. Just again, 1 to 6 p.m. LA time, with the show starting at 2:30 p.m. LA time, 5:30 Eastern, like we usually do. So we're going to stay with the same schedule. If you get there on Friday, there's also Neil Gorsuch is going to be signing his book at the Nixon Library, and Monica Crowley is speaking. So there's a lot of events at the Nixon Library that you could also check out. And there's Disneyland right next door. And
Nixon Library is 2.7 miles away. It's super close.
Hunley with a rangefinder now.
Hey, now.
Hunley with the rangefinder.
I'll tell you what, I know how there's some people in our audience who will say, no, it's not next door. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do directions. There you go. It's 2.7 miles. It's right there.
Who gives a shit? The point of the matter is that we're going to be there, and you could walk to the thing. If you look, I walk 6 miles a day. So that's what I do. That's as my health regimen. If you're too fat to walk to the Nixon Library, maybe this will tell you that you got a problem. But if you can get off your fat ass and get to where we are, that would be a major accomplishment for you at home who can't seem to get off the couch. So 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we're going to have like hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and then 2:30 to 5:30 will be the show, and then there's a dinner after the show. That's Friday. Now Saturday is a different ticket. That'll be at 6 o'clock at night. 6 to 7 we'll have dinner and drinks, and then 7 to 10 we'll have a Q&A and a internal show with a Q&A, and then a mingling and talking conspiratorially speaking about Nixon, coup d'etats, Trump. They mentioned Nixon all weekend, by the way, because apparently Nixon is now finally getting claim for being the political mentor to Trump. You and I knew about this, but apparently many other people are now acknowledging that Nixon was Trump's political mentor. So we're going to be next to the Nixon Library, and we're going to be doing these 2 shows Friday and Saturday. You could get both if you want. You could get one, you could get the other. But we're going to be giving away, the hotel is giving away a large discount. We got a block of hotel rooms, and you could go to unstructured.locals.com, I think, to find the... It's
americasuntoldstories.com/event.
Oh, event.
Yeah, it's just right there.
We're not using that Eventbrite again, are we? With that?
Oh God, no.
Okay. So you go to the website, you could get the tickets, get the secret code to get the hotel reservation, and there's plenty of other hotels there. So you may, if you want to stay somewhere else, they're inches apart.
It's a really reasonable price. It's like $159 a night, or
and there's suites. It's a big kitchen suite kind of a place where we're staying. So I'd recommend trying to get those rooms, but there's plenty of others nearby because there's so much tourist activity. This being August, it's a great time. If you've never been here, if you're from the West Coast, you know what I'm talking about. If you're from, New Mexico, Phoenix, Las Vegas, anywhere in that region, you could drive, which I drive to your place. You could drive to my place once in a while,
Anyway, links in the description for anyone, who wants to check it out. The tickets are going. There's not going to be that many tickets. We are limited by space, so keep that in mind. You probably don't want to linger too long, especially if you're going to travel further, so you'll have time to, get.
Well, this might be a good time to ask people to subscribe to the channel, Eric, too, because we're already talking about this crap. So I see the number changed up on the big board.
Yes, we went to over 14,000, and
114 is now where we are.
114.
114. Okay, it's not a bad number, but our job is to get to 250. What do you get? Do you get anything at 250?
You get nothing until 1 million.
Oh, okay. So our job is to get, I take that back. We have to get to 1 million. Sorry to bother you people, but if you've already subscribed, I recommend you do it again. Change your name, move to another state is one way. A lot of people do that. Get another computer, go in your kid's room. There's ways to skin this cat to defeat these animals. And I strongly suggest when you hear this to start doing it so people can help us get to 1 million and be part of the subscription base. Now, that being said, I have gotten through the JFK Book Fund some of the incredible novels that have come out by E. Howard Hunt. This is one of his code names, David St. John. These are rare novels by E. Howard Hunt. We're going to get into it in the Hunt episode, but I just wanted to thank people for giving me the opportunity through the JFK Book Fund. Look at these books. These are all by the CIA. Here's another one, Guilty Knowledge, that Hunt put out. This is my favorite because this one is about a sex cult led by a Ted Kennedy type figure called the Coven. This is again by E. Howard Hunt. It says it's really David St. John, but they're marketing this now after 1972. This is one of the better ones. This is Hunt's book, Give Us This Day, which is kind of an autobiography by Hunt. This is Undercover by Hunt. This guy has written more books than Tom Clancy. I just want you to know. This is Chinese. Okay, I'm going to explain this in a second. This one's called Chinese Red by Hunt. And then this one is called The Berlin Ending. I'm still missing a few for the collection. And finally, I got this one called, what is it? Emir. No, it's called, what's the name of this thing? I can't even read this up here. Izmir. Now, the reason I mention these books is because Hunt, and if you look at 3 Days of the Condor, the character was originally 6 Days of the Condor, and Hollywood made it into 3 Days of the Condor to save time. But if you look at the character, what he's into is reading books. He's reading the other side's novels from the Soviet Union looking for clues about internal CIA things. And Hunt did this for the CIA to put in false leads in the novels, because what Hunt said in an interview, and I knew about this before, also through 3 Days of the Condor, that both sides would have guys in the KGB and in the CIA writing novels that had false leads, Eric, and distractions and political truisms in there that the other side would have a Robert Redford in Moscow reading Hunt's books. That's why the CIA backed Hunt. That's why Hunt was working at the CIA writing novels. Some of them, a couple of them were optioned. The bikini one, which I don't have, it's a little too expensive, was optioned by Hollywood to be made into a movie. That's the funnel. That's what we've talked about in the CIA and Hollywood. The funneling of to Langley to Hollywood and making these movies was part of the Cold War propaganda campaign. That's what Hunt was involved in. We'll get into it in the Hunt episode, but if you want to support the book fund, it's down below. There's a lot more books I've got to get, but I want to get all the Hunt books and read them because there are clues in there. That Ted Kennedy thing, running this bizarre sex cult, is wild. It's something out of Bohemian Grove, that novel, The Coven. That's the best one I've gotten so far. But anyway, thanks for all these books. And we're going to get into Hunt, which is going to be a two-parter because Hunt is huge. People think that, they watch this HBO thing about the plumbers, that they're doofuses and it's a comedy. Far from it. Far from it.
Yeah, no kidding. Now I wanted to story-wise.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to jump back to last week because I saw this a couple days ago. I was like, holy shit, I never saw that. And I'm like, of course they released it on a Friday and they didn't go down. But Meta is lifting restrictions on Trump's accounts. Now, that they just quietly just kind of put that out there.
Right, but Zuckerberg, you opened the footage of Zuckerberg.
Well, this is the day after.
Right.
This is before the attempt even happened. So it's like They were
Right.
quietly
Yes, I
already
saw that.
saying,
I saw
Biden,
that.
move out the door. We're removing the restrictions.
Yep.
And I just thought that I wanted
You're
to
right.
bring this up here because it is very relevant that, these things are
Absolutely. He did
happening.
it quietly on a Friday. I saw that. I completely agree with you, Eric. It caught my eye, and I thought the same thing. They lifted it. Here you are 90 days before the election. What happened to Zuckerberg that he decided to do this? And if you look at Zuckerberg, I mean, he sounds like someone who's a Trump person now.
Yeah, or borderline. And I kind of feel like that's just more of the narrative of Biden, get out. And then the second Newsom or somebody is up, then Zuckerberg will be all them. Trump's back to the villain and, whatever else. I don't think that,
see, the point is that
Right.
The point is, with all the damage of all these people attacking Biden, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. The damage has already been done by them. He's holding on, and Jill is holding on now for dear life. And I believe they're extracting money out of the Democratic machine to go. I think that they're demanding to be paid to leave because these cunts are money-hungry pieces of shit. And I think him and his wife are demanding a huge financial buyout to get out of that White House. I'm telling you right now, it's not about politics, it's about money.
That, and I do think that there's a personal thing. I thought about it, and going for the open convention, I think that's a Joe Biden demand. Jill,
well, I don't know.
Joe.
That I don't.
No, because I mean, by all accounts, like the biographer of Kamala Harris has reported a lot on that. Jill Biden loathes Kamala Harris.
You don't know that. You said I agree with you. I agree that was said, but we personally don't really know the ins and outs. I mean, so many people we heard that Trump hated and this and that. A lot of it is just gossip and rumor mongering about personal beefs that they have. We don't. It might be true, it might not be true. I don't really know, but I think that they want their entire crime family taken care of to get out of there. And that means a lot of money in some sort of mega deal. And I think they're negotiating right now behind the scenes, day after day, for that mega deal to be done. And the guarantees of the mega deal. And I'm not talking about a book deal. I'm talking about a package for Jill, for the kids, for him. Because when he leaves, the money ends. When he leaves, everybody else is out of work, bro. There's no more flow. There's no more, my dad's the president, my dad's the vice president, all of that. Take a look at his son, who's a 50-year-old crackhead. He gets nothing for the rest of his life. Nothing. Zero. If his father stayed on for 4.5 more years, that's 4.5 years of the grift mill, Eric.
No,
not 4 weeks, not 4 weeks, 4.5 years. And to someone who's middle-aged, that's a lot of time.
And it's going to have to be something really creative, though, because unlike Obama and Clinton or whatever, where they can just give speeches for $100,000, billions a pop.
He can't do it.
He doesn't have enough time. He probably is not going to be around.
He doesn't have the skill.
I mean, so it's got to be some other.
Yes.
Something.
Yep. It's not going to be this. And I'll tell you something right now. Obama and these brainiacs, Axelrod and some Clintonian cats, are putting together a package, and they keep submitting it, and they keep upping the ante, and they keep upping the pressure because look, Hunter Biden's tax trial is going to start in a couple of weeks out here in California. He's going to be convicted of tax fraud. There's no way around it. He's already a convicted felon. They've got to get the guarantee from who's ever the president next that the kid will be pardoned, and there may not be another Democratic president next. So he may have to pardon him on the way out. There's a lot of stuff. People are going, why doesn't he quit now? Why does it? Because they're negotiating all this crap. That's what's going on. They're trying to negotiate a million different things. You just don't leave and say, thanks a lot, which is kind of what Nixon did. He got on the plane August 9th, 1974. His family said, don't do it. Everyone said, fight, fight, fight. And he said, no. He looked at the votes, the impeachment. He didn't want to drag the country through it. We'll discuss all this at the meetup August 9th, a full Nixonian analysis, because I think it was a coup d'etat, and I'm not alone. There's other people who believe that. I mean, you had the Mora affair where the admiral had a crew spying on him from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That was caught. You've got all kinds of leaks. You've got General Haig. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with Nixon, which we're going to discuss at that time. But there's a lot of similarities to today, Eric, right?
Too many. And
Too many.
Keep growing. They keep growing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's spooky. It's spooky. Now, I don't know if you saw this headline, but this is like a typical despicable move.
Right.
I believe Time was going to make their cover that iconic shot of Trump, right?
Yeah.
But this came out before I heard that Time changed its cover. Trump cover-up escalates as photo editor at popular publication wants to ban iconic raised fist photo for making GOP nominee look.
I did read that. Yeah, they're trying to cut out the flag, and they're trying to look. I mean, they're all coming out saying he got what he deserved. He brought it on. You heard this nonstop from the left the past couple of days, from everybody. All of them saying that he brought this on himself. AOC today calling him a neo-Nazi and a fascist and a racist. That's
right
nice.
On schedule.
Right on schedule. That's nice. They didn't skip a beat. But there's two things I wanted to talk about. One was Bob Menendez, because the Bob Menendez case is fascinating because of two reasons. One, he's not George Santos, and two, he's a Democrat. Bob Menendez has vowed, even though he's convicted felon for having gold bars in his freezer from Qatar and Egypt. I want you to understand what Bob Menendez did. He wanted to have a jury trial. He thought he could win. The prosecution said, "Don't do this, bro. We'll give you a deal." He said, "No, go F yourself." He was convicted on all counts of bribery and corruption. Menendez faces decades in prison as he's convicted of this sprawling thing. Now, the sprawling thing involves Qatar and Egypt giving him gold bars to vote the way they wanted him to vote, and then the skullduggery that they wanted him to get involved in. Okay, he's done. However, will he resign? Schumer has called for his resignation, and interestingly enough, Cory Booker, the other Democratic senator of the state of New Jersey, is leading a movement to get him out. He has vowed not to resign. Keep in mind, this is a convicted felon. He's not George Santos. This is a guy who was caught in one of the most enormous corruption scandals in the history of the Democratic Party, not being covered because of other news, and they want him out. He has enough money in his war chest, Eric, to say, "I'm going to appeal this and I'm not leaving until it's done." Okay, that puts it back to the 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate, like George Santos, to get rid of him. And there is quite a bit of movement to get rid of him. Now, the reason it's of interest to me, because right now it's a 51-49 Senate with Democrats 51 and 49 for the other side. If he leaves, that's 50-49. Okay.
Yeah, we have Joe, the West Virginia guy.
Forget about him for a second.
To help.
If Joe Biden steps down and Kamala Harris becomes president, she's the tie-breaking vice presidential vote in the Senate. Correct. It becomes 49-49, and no movement can happen in that Senate because there will be no vice president like post-Spiro Agnew. And the idea that they're going to confirm a vice president that quickly is absurd, because that's not going to happen.
Well, there won't be any people there to confirm it.
That's right. So it would be a 49-49 deadlock if Menendez leaves, which is what I'm rooting for. And if Joe Bales dies or decides not to run again and says, "I'm not going to be president again," then Harris becomes president and she loses that tie-breaking seat. So that might be in the mix too, Eric, is why I'm mentioning it. Because of Menendez, and there are all these backroom political deals that they have to talk about, and one of them being the control of the United States Senate, for Christ's sakes. And that has to factor into Biden staying and going also, Eric. Anyway, I just wanted to bring up the Menendez things because a lot of these stories this week have gone under the radar because of all the enormous news.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, we're living history now. I mean,
it's like a machine gun of news. I'm telling you, it's like a machine gun. Now let's get into this building. I wanted to ask you about this building with the incredibly pitched roof that the kid climbed up on top of with his multiple ladders, because there is a big ladder in that side alleyway. There's a big tree. Another big ladder in the alleyway. There's a ladder in the front. That's the 5-footer that he got. If you guys want to get into the weeds with me on this assassination, let's roll now. Get off your fat ass. Let's pay attention here. Come on. The other ladder, I don't know how he got there with his Honda Accord. The 5-foot ladder, I don't know how he got there. Maybe he rode with on the bike from Home Depot, but that's another issue. I wanted to get into the ownership of the building. And Laura Loomer did a great deep dive on the ownership of AGR, American Glass Research. American Glass Research was recently purchased by a lot of weird guys from the Council of Foreign Relations, BlackRock, and some other cats that she unearthed, who are the current owners of the building. Now, before that, it was owned by Dr. Frank Preston. And Dr. Frank Preston, that's Preston Park, by the way, is where the rally happened. That building, which you could look back to the 1930s, that building that the kid was on, Frank Preston, who later became a famous ornithologist, Frank Preston invented shatterproof glass. He invented cornware. He invented oven, the stuff that women used to put into the oven that was Corningware. This guy also was involved in the glass optics and shatterproof glass involved with the A-bomb. And in 1947, he was in the Bikini Atolls being brought there as a witness for the work that he had done and his company had done. This is a deep state company that goes back to the 1940s. And Preston was invited to witness, and he wrote about it in like really flowery prose of witnessing the atomic bomb being detonated in the Bikini Atolls, 1947. And part of his glass was involved with the optics of the A-bomb itself. So he was brought in. This is a company, somebody called Preston Park. Yeah, somebody, Frank Preston, was a guy who founded this company. And I think he, in 1989, who passed away, lived a long life. And then his wife sold it and became American Glass Research, AGR, which was recently purchased. And this reminds me of the D.H. Byrd purchasing of the Texas School Book Depository, where I was going with this story, because this is not the first time that nefarious actors have bought and controlled the base of operations for an assassination. So that building, if you look at what Luma has come up with, is owned by a lot of sketchy corporate cats today. But it goes back even further to the 1940s with Frank Preston and his group back then, Preston Glass and Preston Industries.
How about the shorts on Truth Social? Or are we going to?
That I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. I really
neither am I. I'm trying to find it.
I don't understand that, but
it looks bad. On the surface, it looks terrible.
I just want to think about Preston. He designed the ceramic heat shields for the U.S. space program, Eric, for the shuttle. That's who this guy is. And that building that was where the kid was on, and back in the day, that was referred to as the Tin Temple. That particular building. And because in that building, they did the top level scientific work, not just for the space program, but for the atomic bomb.
Wow.
That's a little weird. But it shows you how the deep state, how far back it goes, and how they use the same buildings and the same people and the same cover stories. They just don't pick a random place out of the air to do their operation. And now that was a staging area, right, Eric, according to local police?
Yes. It was a staging area. The local police that the Secret Service wants to throw under the bus, because, I mean, after all, this is one of my favorite tweets that came out, this account of Muse. Before blaming the Secret Service for security failure, you need to realize that the building where the shooter was located was outside of the Pac-Man security bubble. There's nothing in the USSS could do to stop the shooter. I love this.
Because insane. They retaliated against the cops that got shot, who were motorcycle cops who got shrapnel wounds. They retaliated against them, claiming they had no right to be in the motorcade. So keep in mind, there's blowback against these cops who are helping people in the stands who got wounded themselves.
Mark, Notice though that there was also a Pac-Man security bubble in the White House where the cocaine was found.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
So,
Oh my God. It's a cocaine White House. It's a coked up White House.
so I love the Pac-Man security area.
Well, look, the kid, there's another photo of the kid that looks like he was transitioning to another sex. He had these.
I think that one's
bites.
been disproven.
Not from what I hear. That's
well, okay,
I
did every kind of reverse image lookup and everything else, and the way I look at it is
who is that kid?
It's somebody on Telegram, and a foreign account is where it started. That and Reddit.
Well,
and
they're claiming that this kid had foreign accounts. What do you know about that? That he had secured overseas accounts, Eric?
I don't know. I've heard they just got the phone open. So there's and who's
again? It took
it?
60 years. It took 60 years. The reason it took 60 years was stuff like this and the technology of the time. This may take 60 months or 60 weeks. It ain't taking 60 hours. I'll tell you that right now. For all the conservative pundits that I heard over the weekend laying out these movie-like complete scenarios, you're a joke, bro. You don't know enough to do that. I'm sorry. Some of these people are friends, and some of them, are very smart people. But you can't put this jigsaw puzzle together and fill in the breach like it's a movie pitch at a studio.
Well, and again, also, are we going to have a Warren Commission? Who's going to report it back?
Yeah.
We have the FBI who is prosecuting the guy who was
can't
almost
do
a victim.
They can't
but that's who's investigating. So it's kind of like
that doesn't count. That doesn't count. You're going to have to have an immediate House Assassinations Committee. It's the only thing that has the gravitas, their own House investigators. It was done in 1978. You could do it again. It was the most in-depth investigation ever done in the assassinations of MLK and JFK, mostly JFK, but there was some MLK stuff going on in there. And that's how it has to be done, because the FBI cannot be trusted. Obviously.
And the sooner the better. I think that I'm glad that she's being called on Monday. I think this needs to be running almost 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. Yep.
Get them early. Get these statements early before they have the chance to get their stories straight. And
subpoenas have to fly. Subpoenas have to fly. And I mean everybody. Her, the person below her, every freaking person, every cop, every guy who's involved in those local police now, before they get paid off and before they start getting disappeared.
Yeah, kind of like the evidence on the roof.
Yeah. They were washing that down. Why would the FBI go? What is it to the FBI? To get up on a local crime on a rooftop and start hosing it down? What's it to them, bro?
Yeah. When did they start doing that? There's a company called Service Master.
I want to know. Get that guy and say, who told you to get up on that freaking roof with a fire hose and wash off that roof?
It's dangerous. You could have gotten hurt, buddy.
Yeah. You got to get the snipers under oath. You got to get everybody under oath. Come on, this has to happen right now. You need a House Assassinations Committee that goes into special session like the other one did, and begin to issuing subpoenas and hiring House investigators. And I'd be happy to do it, because they brought in a lot of people. The Lopez report, the guys who were brought in by the House Assassinations Committee were people like us. They weren't cops. Lopez went down to Mexico City himself. He lived in Hollywood. He was one of the investigators. He went down to Mexico City with the authority of the House Assassinations Committee to investigate whether Oswald had been there or not.
Yeah, I got to answer this one because it's true. Under oath doesn't mean shit. They still lie. That's not true. Their lies will still be on record. I want them on record. The more you have on record, the more you can catch people.
Eric's correct. You get the stuff on record, and then you cross-examine. You cross the paths of the testimony to find where the differences are, and then you confront them both. It's not so complicated.
And evidence, as you dig up evidence, you go, oh, well, wait a minute, you said this, and that's not there. And
all right, where's the kid's gun? Where's the kid's gun?
Yeah,
where's the kid's gun? Where is it? Where's the parents? Where's the parents?
Did it have iron sights? Did it have this? Did it have that?
I don't know. I have no idea. I know he bought like 40 rounds of ammo or 50 rounds of ammo that day, which is fine, but
And he practiced on a range supposedly that was 200
You got to get the
yards.
owner. This is what happened in the RFK case. The father of RFK Jr. You got to get. They had all kinds of controversy. Did Sirhan go in and buy these rounds of ammo? Well, one of them said there were 4 people that came in with Sirhan. That person was attacked and discredited by the FBI. That's why you need to do this. I mean, they said that he went into that gun store to buy ammo. Good. Let's get that guy under oath. Let's find out. Was anybody with
footage?
Him? Footage or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gun store. They probably have security cameras, and there should be some footage of who goes in and out.
Right. And anyway, there's a million. What I'm trying to say, is a million things like this that are needed to be done to get to the bottom of this, to create the parts of this jigsaw puzzle so it becomes clear as to what happened. Trying to do it now just based on your own imagination and the minimum amount of facts you have is really scurrilous, to be honest with you, because I'm shutting up because I don't have all the facts. I'm just talking about stuff that is bizarre to me right now. And where do you go from here? I'm not going to put together an entire movie plot of how this kid did it. That would be really disingenuous on my part.
Right. And I'm just kind of going by things that have been verified, acknowledged widely, like the Secret Service saw him with a rangefinder.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Well, no.
That
But,
is
okay,
worth looking into. So all those
so that is in his backpack. That is removed, not seen with it. That was taken out, and they let him have it. So that was, in other words, at the checkpoint when he was when the magnometers or whatever they are, so opened his bag, there was this rangefinder. Okay. Let's interview that guy. Why did you put it back? Why did you let it go through? That's what you have to do, people. And you got to do it now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But you know what? There's a guy out there who's giving us all advice on how we should deal with this.
Really?
Yeah. And he's the only one who has firsthand knowledge of this kind of thing.
Okay. Who's that? Oh, Hinckley. Yeah. I saw him on my Twitter feed. You know what? Let's call Hinckley in. Maybe he's got something to say. Maybe he could be an expert witness.
Give peace a chance.
Right. You got to love this guy. Holy crap, Hinckley. What did Chapman have to say?
Oh, God. I don't even know. But I couldn't believe. I'm like, really? Hinckley, you might want to just go back to your coffee houses and your masterful tour. Oh, my God.
Strange things have happened. I just want to point out there's a guy who's a big donor to Biden, a billionaire donor named Jeff Green. And Jeff Green is he's a big real estate mogul in New York, and he's flipping out because one of the he wants Biden out, but one of the things he's opposed to is the national rent control that people didn't realize a week ago that Biden has called for his second term, to control the rents of America. This is one of the biggest socialist programs ever created. And this particular guy, Jeff Green, is flipping out because he's one of the largest Democratic donors, and he's a real estate mogul. And I think he's going to jump parties. Hopefully he'll switch over to Trump. But this is one of the proposals for the next term that people have ignored. The nationalization of the rents of the United States of America, folks. That's why this election is so important. Not because of that, but all the stuff like that they're planning to do in the second term.
Oh, also, Nate pointed out earlier on Layback Law today, you have Clarence Thomas. He's 76 years old, heading to 80. You have Sotomayor, who, you've got probably 2 or more seats on the Supreme Court. Again, that's just a 2 or more that.
You know what? You could ask Neil Gorsuch if you come to the meetup August 9th for America's Untold Stories. Go next door and talk to him and buy his book. I think it's $85 to buy the book and talk to him and get it signed. You could ask him about that. Say, I'm here from America's Untold Stories.
And look how consequential Trump's picks have been. Not perfect. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to, I get it. Amy Coney Barrett, unreliable. But the point is, some things did get through that are big ones, like the Chevron case, other ones. So that's important. That's really
right.
important.
Look, they don't march in lockstep like the Democrats do. And I know it's frustrating, but look at how stupid they sound. I mean, Sotomayor, absolutely mentally retarded during the vaccine discussions last year.
Hundreds of thousands of kids or whatever.
Dude, I mean, just a psycho, a chick who might work in Chick-fil-A or something, but probably not because of her religious background. But I mean, the picks that they've made are people who are mentally retarded. And the other picks that Trump has made, you could say that they think for themselves, whether you like it or not. I mean, he didn't pick robots.
No, I can make him.
But he may pick more, is what Eric's saying.
Right, or the alternative will pick. I mean, like, think about who's going to replace Thomas if Newsom is,
Well, they're just going to try to expand the court, like Roosevelt had said. I mean, they're not hiding this. They want to expand the court to 9, from 9 to 12, and then to 15. Who knows?
Actually, there's another story that got buried about it because Biden literally came out considering proposals on Supreme Court term limits, ethics code, blah, 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 blah. What a coincidence. He wants to have term limits. The 3 longest tenured Supreme Court justices happen to be Thomas, Roberts, and Alito.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, you could grandfather it in for the next group if you want to.
Yeah. Go figure.
It doesn't apply to them.
Just knock those 3 on out.
No, it's not. I saw Schlapp, the husband, saying, it's not that bad of an idea because, it sounds like a Republican idea because term limits would do more damage to the Democrats with their marching orders and talking in lockstep than it would to the Republicans, is what Schlapp said. And I thought he wasn't opposed to it.
Okay. I mean,
but you can't do it to these people. You got to grandfather it in.
Right. And and I guess it could be the case of a typical Democrat power grab, short-sighted deal, just like the nuclear option when they were so mad that they couldn't push things through.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Yeah, it would end up biting them in the ass. But everything they do is short-term. Everything they do is short-term political stuff.
Weird. All right, well, you know what? We have a ton of super chats, and oh my God, we might have another membership war. I don't know.
Well, let me just say this. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 more attempts on Trump between now and January 25th. So I just want to put that out on the record. This is not the final attempt on his life. I think this is a dog whistle for everyone else who's out there who thinks they could get a shot at him and do stuff. So keep in mind this, we're not out of the woods yet. He's not the president. He's not going to get the level of protection of Joe Biden. Eric and I talked about this the other day. There are different levels, and he ended up with 5 fat chicks on his White House patrol, White House unit. There's different levels, and the 2 Bidens get the highest, and then Obama probably, and then it goes down from there. So we're not out of the woods until this guy is actually the president, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's why he rushed the pick for Vance, though. The one thing about Vance, whatever anybody stands on, the smoke signal was that J.D. Vance is anti-deep state. Now, one other thing somebody mentioned
today he is.
Well, all I can say is that is the message that's being sent. One interesting thing is somebody pointed out that the song that was chosen to close the RNC or close Trump's speech or whatever it was an opera, and in the end of Sum of All Fears, that was the music playing when they eliminated all the deep state, all the players. So I was like, oh, so I've got to check that out because they're saying that is a direct message potentially to folks that something's coming. He also had a strong message for Hamas in his speech, though, when he said, you better be releasing those hostages now before I come into office, or it's going to be very, very bad for you. That was one strong thing. And I also do want to acknowledge his speech because we did say, it was a little bit, wasn't my favorite. I really love that he brought the guy, the Chiefs helmet.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
That was pure class and wonderful stuff.
That was great.
I want to acknowledge all of those. We got a bunch going here. Breaker Boy's a new member. Thank you. And then Dick Dickerson starting out strong again. He's a member for 20 months. He said, great grill stream coverages, Hunley. Thank you. that was very weird. I was doing the grill stream when this all went down, and I was just like, and Pew Pew came in and gave 10 America's Untold Stories memberships, starting it out. Pew Pew said, I'm on the top of this now. I'm back. I'm here. And then Dick Dickerson came back with 20.
When is this? Right now you're talking about?
No, throughout the show. Well, we've been collecting this whole time.
I don't see that. Okay.
So yeah, Pew Pew came in with 10. Dickerson.
So this
came
already
back
happened. You're
with 20.
saying they already did this.
Yep, this is already happening. Yep. Then I'm going to mix it up with, I'm going to just do super chats in between. So we'll check the membership back and forth and see how that goes. I'm not your buddy guy. Just joined the stream. So sorry if you answered this already. What is the most likely scenario for you? LI hop, my hop, or DEI incompetence and why? Well,
I think my take was that it's all of the above.
Yeah. I like Tim Kennedy's, angle, and I see some of that. Pasha Moyer, Mark, I'm approaching the various big bang theories differently. Keep pumping the crazy theories out. We can winnow out the crazy stuff over time. We'll mention things, but that doesn't mean we're endorsing them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather be more accurate than to create wild conspiracy theories. It distracts from the actual research. The more crazy crap you put out. Let's just say this thing is with the water tower is made up and it's not real. The distraction of that, the energy involved in going down that rabbit hole, is what the intelligence agencies would like you to do. Okay, and I'm not signaling out the water tower. I'm just saying that's kind of a disinformation campaign that they do in these particular things to make everyone go in a different direction.
Yeah, and then, by the way, if you get all behind it and you put it out there, then they go, look at the idiot.
That's
look
right.
at the idiot. And now you've discredited yourself.
You got to really hold your fire. You really do. At least I do. I don't know about you do, but for me.
Well, I have been. I've done 3 shows on it. And I've gotten a lot of, pushback on what I should or shouldn't do. Like, one interesting thing as a good example, I interviewed a witness and he talked about this mist, this dark mist that came out of the speaker right after the shots. And he was like, I've never seen that. I don't know what that is. Was that, some sort of a cover or shield? Well, it turns out that it appears that a bullet struck the hydraulic line of the forklift that was holding up the speaker, and the spray went out. But he, down below as a witness, just saw spray coming out of the speaker or, around it. So I'm glad that
It's a good example.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we reported just what he saw. We didn't know what it was. And then I felt a lot better instead of making conclusive remarks that it was obviously the counterterrorism measure of the brown mist to cover for things going down. Turns out there's something to it. So I'm trying my best to be accurate.
Yeah, just be responsible.
Bayou Nola.
Well, we mentioned the House Investigations Committee. The FBI was involved in the JFK investigation, but there still was a House committee a number of years later that uncovered a lot of things that the FBI didn't uncover.
And also, if the House is concurrently investigating, it kind of forces the FBI, where it's like, if they're looking over your shoulder every 10 minutes, you probably need to really focus.
Well, you can't have the Secret Service investigating themselves, and in our particular era, you can't have the FBI investigating the situation either. So we're running out of agencies.
True. Zandinga, thank you for keeping a critical analysis on everything coming out. We need to remember not to just accept it as true.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, you said it better than me. That's for sure. We can't just accept everything and go down these rabbit holes, bro, because first of all, it's a waste of energy. It's puts out disinformation. It makes us look like schmucks when it's disproven, like Eric just said. And it could be that they want to distract us to go down those roads.
Yeah, without doubt. And you know what?
This just happened Saturday. Today's Friday. Keep that in mind. It's not, look, it may not take 60 years, but it's not going to take 60 hours.
No. We forgot 2 names. They're right. Shelley Duvall and Dr. Ruth as well.
Well, we talked about Shelley Duvall.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because my psychiatrist dated her, and we talked about that. And
Oh, that was Tuesday.
Yeah. We talked about her. And Dr. Ruth was in between. Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't talk about Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
No.
But, I mean, she was like 95, 96 years of age. She was still involved in orgies and group sex, which is kind of disgusting at her age. But nevertheless, that's how she rolled. Dr. Ruth, we're going to miss you, baby.
All righty then.
Okay.
Toddy or DOTY saw an X post comparing the Angel Reese / Caitlin Clark WNBA rivalry as priming us to fight over the DNC nominating a new presidential nomination / white VP against incumbent Harris.
Man,
wow, there's a lot in there, man.
There's a lot in there, bro.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. I mean, that's more important than the entire WNBA, it seems. Wow. I had no idea it had that influence.
Yeah, you're ahead of me on that. Okay.
I don't know that one.
Scott Bimbo, while he's out subscribing for us on different devices, his attorney and he will be visiting La Brea. My wife says I have to take my LBJ painting to give Mark. What is the dress code? Attorney is not like Hunter S. attorney. Oh, okay. I hope not.
Okay. Well, La Brea is an avenue in Hollywood. We're going to Brea, California, which is, I don't know if he means Brea. That's probably 2 separate things. Your wife says I have to take LBJ painting. I don't know anything about that. Dress code is whatever you want to wear. I mean, you don't have to. There's no dress code, right? I mean, what did people wear the last time? I mean, they didn't.
Most people wear like business casual, like polos, and it could be jeans. We don't usually have like Daisy Duke cutoff shorts and bikinis.
I wore a suit. I wore a suit last time.
Mark wears a suit. I'll wear a button-down shirt. Decent, cargo pants and whatever.
What's with the attorneys? Not like Hunter Thompson's attorney. What's the deal there?
Fear and loathing, man. Fear and loathing.
Yeah, the painting is 72 feet long, and we're going to bring it down by helicopter to Brea, which is nice of you. I really like that. What's weird is that Biden was supposed to speak at the LBJ Library on Monday, and he had to cancel it. That, to me, is a red flag. I don't know what it means. But if Trump had been killed, he would have been speaking at the LBJ Library.
Yeah, and also I have to admit that that Nikki Haley suddenly being announced to appear at the convention 30 minutes before it happened, that definitely
weird.
Ding, 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 that does trigger, that does tickle my my brain a little bit. I'm not going to pretend. Me too. I'm not going to say that I don't acknowledge that there was only one other Republican candidate who had delegates whatsoever, and if Trump didn't make the convention, then we would probably.
How about the people who didn't come? How about the people who didn't come to the convention? The Mitt Romneys, the Bushes, there's so many weird people who are famous in the Republican Party, the Cheneys, who did not show up. What did they know? Did they think the convention was going to be canceled because of an event on Saturday?
Well, they hate his guts so much they could just say, "I'm not going to that son of a bitch's thing."
Right. Well, that's one way to look at it, but they may have had some other information as to why they shouldn't and didn't have to show.
It could be, but I actually find it more mysterious for people who have bad blood showing up. Like, "Hello, I'm here." All of a sudden.
Well, there was some bad blood between the media and some of the delegates and people at the convention. I didn't know that CNN was going to be there live and MSNBC was going to be there live, and people were.
MSNBC is not there live, according to Savannah Hernandez.
Oh, interesting.
They're in front of an LCD screen pretending that they're there live.
Is that true? Really?
That's what she is reporting.
What?
I don't know, but that would be kind of hilarious.
Were people interacting with them, fighting. Don Jr. was being interviewed, and he got into
got roaming reporters, but that doesn't mean
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The roaming reporters. I thought that was fascinating that they were there interviewing people who hate their guts also.
Right. No, I'm saying that they kind of had it represented like they were sitting at the place, like the anchor setup or whatever.
Right. Interesting. Was CNN there?
I don't know about CNN. I'm talking about MSNBC. Okay. I think they said was not actually physically there like the anchor.
Well, I'll tell you something. Van Jones said, despite what you think, the energy that I saw, the last time I ever saw this type of energy at a convention was with Obama in 2008. He said something is going on here, and there's a lot of momentum for the Republicans. He said this reminded him Obama in 2008, which was terrifying to the people he was talking to on the panel. He said one man defeated a bullet and another one lost to a disease in the same week. Oh God! Yeah, that's what Van Jones said.
Oh no! But I was going to point out, I actually have a clip somewhere. I'm scrambling so hard to keep track of everything to have that. Was it Joy Reid is comparing Biden fighting COVID to be the same level as Trump and the bullet.
She's insane. She's insane.
Even, you know what's so funny? Even Jen Psaki, who was sitting there, did kind of a.
Oh, Van Jones is turning out to be a completely rational person for a communist. I mean, he's not deranged like Joy Reid. Van Jones was a player in the Obama administration. I mean, as you remember, I mean, he was fired because it turned out to be that he was a card-carrying member of the American Communist Party, and he was outed, and then Obama had to cut ties to him, and that's how he ended up on CNN. Joy Reid is just some wildcat woman with no hair who's just completely out of control. I mean, she's just a wild woman, you know.
Well, you know who else has been saying for a while that Trump's got the momentum and everything else is Carville.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's another realist. They're just realists. It's not that they're evil or whatever. They're realistic, and so is David Axelrod, the former. David Axelrod's been saying the same thing. I mean, they can only lie for so long.
Yeah. Grip Van Wrinkled said, check how many times the wall portrait changes behind Major as he attempts to leave and catch 22.
In the movie, or what does that mean? What does that mean? The movie version of Catch 22 of the book?
Must be.
Okay. All right. And you're saying that?
Yeah. Tommy's.
I am not a crook. What I've said, Tommy, many times. For $1.99, I'll do anything, Tommy.
See you in LL. Okay. All right. Oh, you're going to be in Lim. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. And then Pew Pew came back, tying it with Dick Dickerson. So 20 each now. I'll have to keep track of the math as we're going. All right. Al Gonzalez says NYPD intel sources think Trump is not out of future danger. What you were just saying.
Yeah.
Rallies will need massive security. Secret Service cannot be trusted.
Yep.
And it's merely security theater, malicious incompetence at play.
I completely agree. That's what I was implying by this. This thing is going to escalate now simply because you've got copycat crazies who are going to try to, either off themselves, get away with it or whatever. And you've got this theater, this phony security theater that's going on. You got a woman who used to guard Cheetos, still running the Secret Service, will not buckle until maybe next Friday. But then what do? You put the second in command, this other chick in charge? It doesn't change anything.
I just saw something ironic. Maybe he needs to hire Gavin DeBecker since he's available now.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing because DeBecker
is good
at what he does, and it's Gavin DeBecker Associates people who out here in Hollywood, he is the go-to security firm for celebrity stars for everything, and is guarding or was guarding until today RFK Jr. until they brought in Secret Service. And I as I said before, as RFK has said, it was financial was the thing that was killing him, not the security part. He was spending $250,000 a month to Gavin DeBecker, who was kicking back the money through some sort of money laundering thing, through donations back to the campaign. But nevertheless,
Elon's giving $46 million a month. Use some of that money to hire DeBecker's crew.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, the fact of the matter is, even with DeBecker, how many people got into RFK's house, into his bathroom, and on his property? They were using that to shame the Biden administration. The Biden administration wasn't shamed. Why Mayorkas decided to give him a Secret Service the next day is insane, based on their politics. I mean, they were denying that he was a candidate, then denying there was a threat. Mayorkas said if there was a threat, I would do it. Nothing happened to RFK. He was simply shamed into doing it by the Trump debacle, Eric.
Yeah, and Trump saying it. Trump saying
it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I mean, nothing changed with RFK Jr. to warrant Secret Service, making your entire argument previous to that bullshit. That's all it did. It was made you look like bullshitters.
Totally agree.
But he's got to hire his own firm. That's it.
Well, or at least he has to hire the right people who can watch what's going on. You know, the Bonginos who aren't on the radio, or former secret, people who really know what is supposed to be going on. That
you can't just
can be
roll
trusted.
into a town and say, hey, it's Beaver, Pennsylvania. Let's get local fat cop to guard the thing. He looks intelligent. You can't do that anymore. It's absurd. You can't depend on your local police force to do this.
Well, I believe the cops when they say we have a department of 12 and we're doing traffic work.
Right.
That's what we are supposed to do. And it makes sense. Why would the Secret Service say, oh, well, we'll just depend on that doesn't.
Here's a crazy idea. Everywhere he goes, there's National Guard. How about that for an idea? Thank you. Next problem.
Yeah.
Next problem. Give me 500 extra freaking National Guardsmen just from intimidation with automatic weapons in their uniforms on the periphery. That will help. Having a fat cop going up a ladder and looking down the barrel of an AR-15 and then going back down and nothing happens is not really the way to roll here.
Yeah, let's see. So, Sarah Me, please do a meetup in Tulsa just because we are badass in Oklahoma. Okay.
Listen, if it's 200 miles from where you live, Tulsa, I want you to repost for free. You have to live within 200 miles of Tulsa, honey.
Not within, outside of
200 miles. That's our Secret Service perimeter. 200 miles from the place that you want a meetup.
And it's not the Pac-Man perimeter, damn it.
No, it's 200 human miles. I don't know if I live that far, Mark. I live in Tulsa itself. It would be great if you would just come here so I don't have to get off my fat ass and do anything.
Okay, Ruth.
But hopefully we'll meet you all down in Yorba Linda at the Nixon Library.
Yeah, I mean, we better have some West Coast people. We have been hearing shit for a while now. Why
you can come down from Oregon. You can come down from Oregon. Just drive down the 5. Come down from Washington State. Just straight down.
Yeah, we've been hearing everything's east.
You can take the 10. Take the 10 from Jute. If you get on the 10, you'll hit it. Going west, that is.
I agree. Grip Van Wrinkled. Any new plumbing techniques?
What does he mean by that?
I don't know.
What does he mean by that? Plumbing techniques?
I don't know. Pop Smoke JLP. Connecting dots. Pressure coming in for investigation of Butler, PA.
Yeah.
Maybe internet out is cover for deleting evidence. Just saying.
I don't know. That's not true. But the first part is definitely true. You're going to have to look deep into that police force just to see what the hell happened. I mean, not that they're involved in anything, but you just see where the ball was dropped for the future. Not to really bury them, but you got to do it. You got to do it.
No, everybody who's there has to be investigated.
Yeah.
And there's a lot.
There's a lot to be looked into.
Gavin Newsom as Democratic President nomination with Michelle Obama's
veto.
Oh,
Jesus. Oh, my God.
What
is it about Michelle Obama, Joshua, that you can't possibly let go of? Why don't you just stick Oprah in there? What is it about her that despite everyone saying she's not going to do it, people still think she's going to do it? What is it, man? Has she ever been in office before? Has she ever intimated that she wanted
She's
to do
not
this?
Hillary Clinton.
Dude,
she is
they
not Hillary Clinton.
them, I think they conflate it too. Yeah. That she's like the wife of Bill
She's
Clinton.
more like Barbara Bush than she's like Hillary
She's
Clinton.
more like fucking fat Oprah than she is like either one of them. So think about Oprah. Yeah.
Nora K. Shelley Duvall was another recent Hollywood death. Yes. And she was in The Shining, Olive Oil. She was in Annie Hall, I guess, as well.
In Annie Hall? Who said that?
Or something like that. I think
she wasn't in Annie Hall.
Wasn't? Okay. I don't know. She was,
no.
All right.
She was in a recent movie called, which is not available, Forest Hills, which I'd like to see. It's a horror film, and it's set in the Catskills, actually, in upstate New York, but apparently not available for streaming yet. A 2024 film. Her last film is what I'm saying. She plays a mother in a film called The Forest Hills, which I'd love to find.
She was in Annie Hall, played Pam.
Who's Pam in Annie Hall?
I don't know, but I just looked up IMDb. It said she is in Annie Hall. Probably is. So go figure. All right. Jordan Monet with the super sticker from Australia. Thank you. Hey, Sean Lucan's getting into the membership game, gifting 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. By the way, while we're talking about memberships, let me clarify, because I did not know how they were distributed.
If you don't know, nobody knows.
I have come to find out that they are randomly distributed by YouTube to people who are watching live. Sadly, the person who buys the memberships does not have the control over who receives the memberships. It's just randomly assigned to people who are in the live chat. So I did not know that. I've been corrected, and I'll probably repeat this on multiple episodes because I did not know it for a long time, and I want to make sure that everybody else does know. And Sean, thank you very much for gifting memberships. You guys have been incredible. There's over 1,000 memberships out there right now, and many of these obviously are from being gifted. Dick Dickerson came back with 20 more memberships.
Oh, there's a little scene there of Annie Hall of Shelley Duvall in bed with Woody Allen.
Okay, so
yeah, it was a quick scene. It was a little cameo.
Okay, well, I just happened to notice it, and so I'm not gonna. You're the movie buff. I am not.
Dude, I went over my head.
So, all right, Dick Dickerson came back, like I said, with 20 more memberships. Thank you, Dick. You're a rock star. You really are. Grip Van Winkle again from Germany. That's not funny. That's sick. Groove Tube, fun stuff.
He's talking about National Lampoon show was called "That's Not Funny, That's Sick." That was a live show. Groove Tube was a Chevy Chase independent film, separate, having nothing to do with Lampoon, except Chevy Chase is in it. It was like an experimental phony TV network, if I remember correctly, directed by an avant-garde director. Two different things, but both interesting cultural productions.
Do you know Chevy Chase? Or have you met him?
No. Oh, have I met him? Oh, yeah. I've met him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Your statement's saying a lot right there.
Oh, yeah. No, I just thought for a second. Oh, I just flashed back to Chevy Chase. Sorry. I can't talk about it.
Okay.
He did go to Bard before I did, and he was the drummer in the original. Well, it wasn't Steely Dan yet. It was just Becker and Fagan and him and another cat. But so he was there before me.
And I heard he was actually a damn good drummer.
Yeah, he was. He was. He was. In fact, in Lemmings, I think he played drums for a little bit.
All right, Jim tells you another tie-in bet today, and Nixon is the Teamsters. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The Teamsters backed Nixon. That was the last time they backed a Republican, apparently.
Well, there's a lot of backstory behind that, which we'll get into. There's a lot of money exchanging hands to get that endorsement, and money, and also the pardon of Hoffa was involved in that, and very nefarious situation involved with Nixon doing that. Not really above board. I'll put it that way.
Great. Well, it's still an interesting echo.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
sure,
absolutely.
And thank you, Jim. Bogey 34 said, "Does Obama/DNC really still think they have a chance of beating Trump? It's a long time till November, everybody."
Yeah, bro. I'm sorry. Are you kidding me? What are you, nuts?
July. And by the way, just Biden dropping out on Sunday enables the mainstream media to change the subject, which they desperately want to do. And they'll go all into, that mini primary thing. Then they can get all the sports odds and focus all the attention.
As other pundits have pointed out, if it's Harris, she still has to carry the baggage of the Biden administration. If it's Newsom, he comes in clean as a whistle, says, I don't have anything to do with this. Vote for me. I do this and that, whatever. He doesn't have the Ukraine war, the Middle East problem, inflation, everything else that Harris still has if she runs on the Biden-Harris ticket. So there's an argument which is being fought right now about having someone come in clean as a whistle without the baggage. And let me tell you something. If it's Newsom, the media will go berserk. It will go berserk.
And then the next part where it says, at this point, why aren't they letting Joe be the fall guy? Why would anybody jump in? Because of down ticket. they need to have, hold whatever power they can. So let's say somebody comes in and they don't beat Trump. That doesn't mean that Trump has coattails.
He didn't the last time.
Right. These people may go out and it might be just enough to, hold their congressional seats as much as possible, Senate seats as much as possible.
Well, who does DeWine pick in Ohio to replace Vance?
Good question.
He's a never Trumper, DeWine, and he's a strange cat. Who does he pick in that seat? Some people are saying Moreno, who is going to lose to Sherrod Brown, despite what you people think. He's been behind in the polls, and Brown's lead is now opening up. Moreno is not going to win. And some people are saying Moreno should be given the seat by DeWine to replace J.D. Vance. We'll see what happens. Anyone who has ever been given a seat by a governor in Ohio, going back to 1913, has lost the election when the people went to actually vote. They're 0 for 5. They've never won it after being selected by a governor in the state of Ohio. So this has happened before. If Moreno loses and is then given the seat, some people don't like that, Eric. You know what I mean? Like if you lost an election and then you're given the seat by the governor and then you come up for re-election or election, people have voted them down every single time in Ohio history.
Yeah, and hearing the never Trumper part, it's not like he's going to give it to Vivek that easily.
No.
Why would he give it to somebody that reminds him of Trump?
He's going to sell the seat like what's his name did in Illinois. And Blagojevich, who surprisingly was holding court at the convention last night as if he was a Republican. And I said to him on Twitter, I mean, did you switch parties, bro? I don't understand. Did Blagojevich switch to
He's a Republican. I thought he was a Republican.
No.
He's always been. Yeah. Look
it up. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I can't spell his name, but
maybe you're right.
40th governor. Let me see. Okay, no, they're saying he's a Democrat.
Right. He's never changed parties.
What the hell?
That's why he was not selling the seat, but like everybody else did and does. You have to bargain for that seat, and it's going to happen to DeWine. I mean, in theory, DeWine could go to prison like Blagojevich did. No, he was a big fish. He was a big Democratic fish, and Obama didn't like him, and he didn't like Jesse Jackson Jr. either, and both of them went to jail at the beginning of his administration.
I must have thought he was a Republican because Obama went after him so hard. I don't know.
No. That's what I'm saying. They go after each other, especially in Chicago. No, he came out of Chicago politics, Blagojevich.
Wow.
But I was wondering what the hell's he doing at the convention? I mean, who does he represent?
Good question.
Maybe he switched parties. I don't know.
And you guys are super generous. I mean, we still have a ton of super. I mean, it's just.
All right, let's go.
David Presley, they tried to JFK Trump 2024. Yeah, they did try.
They did try. Look, they missed by a millimeter, bro.
And that's $50. Thank you very, very much. Very, very generous. Joshua Turnage, when the photographer in PA ran in front of the Trump stage, why was he not tackled by Secret Service?
I think they quickly. I saw that. I think they quickly identified him as a reporter and as a journalist. That's all I could think of. He was there the whole time.
Could be. All right.
I think they did a quick ID on him.
Frank Preston was a contemporary of Dr. Eugene Edgerton, who invented the rotating glass prisms to allow 35 millimeter film.
Absolutely.
To photograph the nuke explosions as well.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Yep. I think he probably made the prisms too, because I've done some research on Preston. I go off on these weird tangents when things like this happen. And the Preston thing is really interesting to me. I don't know specifically what he did, but he also wrote a lot of articles about it in various publications that I've read about the witnessing the nuclear explosion in the Bikini Islands, which spread radiation to a lot of people. Those things, it was quite a debacle when it happened.
All right. Nancy Jennings, are drones usually used in these outdoor events? I would think so. I mean, we love drones. We love drones. Why not? There's got to be some drones laying around to use.
I think we need drones with laser technology on them to take out people on the rooftop with a laser.
Yeah, but you drone with a missile will do it too.
Go with a missile. That might have collateral damage, especially if the mounting station is right below the roof that you're killing the guy on. It could go underneath into the building.
This is true.
The staging area, put it that way. There's 2 stories in there. If it's the same building, this tin temple that is talked about in the Preston literature, that building goes back to the 1940s, 1930s.
Wild. Joey Z gifted 5 America's Untold Stories
I think
memberships.
he's following me on Twitter, this guy, Joey Z. There's a guy with a name like that who claimed to be Joey Z. A lot of people claim to be Joey Z, and they're not Joey Z. So it's hard to discern sometimes with who the real Joey Z is. But thank you.
All right. And then, I've heard about this too. Rich Bear said today on his show that there are whistleblowers who went to Josh Hawley saying there were agents on Trump's detail who were NHS agents. And they had no idea what they were doing. There's some people that didn't know.
That's fair enough. It's fair enough.
Like our gunslinger. Did you see she couldn't handle it at the hospital either? She was like fumbling with her gun at the hospital.
I think that there's a problem with the length of their arm and the fat going over the belt and something that she just can't get it in there. She just can't get it in there. Die hard, DEI hard.
Yeah. Or DEI another day, like I should. I'm very sad about Saturday event. Horrible.
That's
we
true.
all are.
We
all are. Ron C. Term limits for SCOTUS, Congress, and mandatory retirement age of 65 or 70 for government employees. Well, that would rule out Trump too, guys. So
yeah, watch what you say. Yeah.
Pamela Clifton has been a member for 16 months. Happy Friday, guys. Thank you, Pamela. Al Gonzalez, Trump turning his head is eerily similar to what de Gaulle did in Day of the Jackal movie.
That's true, Al. It is very similar. I mean, they almost got de Gaulle like 3 times. Massive attempts in the assassination of de Gaulle, and turned his head away at one of them. Very similar, yeah.
Yes. Feels like Providence in a way.
Yeah. Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah. Brian Gianardi with $100. Thank you for the daily schooling. Wow. Thank you very much.
Well,
Brian.
It seems like weekly, but I guess daily might.
Well, we have a lot of back episodes, Mark. I
mean, so people are busy. Yeah,
people do.
I did whatchamacallit yesterday, Greg Boudell's show out of Montgomery, Alabama, and he said, "What have you learned after you've investigated Watergate?" I said, Greg, we've done 3 episodes. We have 97 more to go. Call me in a couple of months. I said, I don't know. We're just getting started with Watergate. How many Watergate episodes do we have? 3, 5?
No, there's more than that. Let's see. We start out with Liddy. We've got Barker. 2 of the burglars. We did 2 episodes on somebody. Oh God, sorry. I'm trying to.
It's
catch
less
up.
Than 10 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, I thought it was 5. I said 3, but it could be 5. Yeah. Well, on Tuesday we're going to do the rest of the Cubans. So there's other interesting things about the other Cubans that people might find interesting, and then we'll go to Hunt.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me, McCord. I'm sorry, McCord.
And by the way, folks, that Mark, what he's not saying is, don't go on Wikipedia and paste in the comments ahead of time.
Right. It's so exciting when you do that. It really, it's like going to the movie. And I'll tell you an example of this. We're online at the Mann's Chinese Theater to see Titanic, and the line is going around the block. And they came out from the previous show, and there's like a gangbanger there. It's like 2 gang kids with their girlfriends, young Latino gangbangers. And the guy comes out and he goes, "Hey, man, you got to see this movie. Everybody dies at the end." And everyone in line was like, "What the?" And I was laughing because obviously I knew what happened to the Titanic. But these people who were not history-minded were embittered that he told them that the people die at the end of the Titanic movie. Cut to, we're in the theater at the end of the Titanic movie, and we hear this kid bawling, and it's the gangbanger crying emotionally from the death at the end of Titanic.
That's funny.
I know. It was very funny.
Stephen McMahon, does anybody know what became of the Cubans caught in the Chicago, Thomas.
We're going to
Valley.
find out from Vince, because he's putting out a book in September about the Thomas Arthur Valley Chicago situation. Is a big part of Vince's book, which we'll learn about.
Well, they can watch our Bolden episode as well, and they might get
Yeah, I
something
mean,
out
but
of
it
that.
doesn't. Yeah, I mean, Thomas Arthur Valley leaves Chicago. He's arrested. He's let go. He's arrested by Chicago Intel police, kind of like the Al Gonzalez of Chicago. Arrests Thomas Arthur Valley and has a lot of ammunition, a lot of rifles, and a place to shoot from. JFK is turned back. They said he had a cold. He was supposed to be at Soldier Field for the Army, Navy, or Army Air Force game. I forget which one it was. And Pierre Salinger said that he had a cold, went back to D.C. That's after the apprehension of Valley. Valley ends up if you trace it back, he was at Sugi when Oswald was there as a CIA operator.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Let's see. Grip Van Wrinkled. How much protection did Joe have as a presidential candidate?
I don't know. There seems to be a gray area here. We discussed it on the show the other day with Vince, and I seem to think that there's a pecking order on down the line of who gets the best protection. I presume it would be the president of the United States.
It's supposed to be, and Vince did verify, but the problem is there's supposed to be, and there's what's actually happening.
Right, yeah.
But technically, number one and number two, and they should be tied, are the nominees. Because
number two may be his wife's detail.
It may be in this case, but procedure-wise, it's supposed to be the other.
I think number 2 or 3 is Obama and his family. Come on, in reality. But you're right; it shouldn't be. But those girls disappeared suddenly. At the convention.
There's a great-looking detail at the convention.
Right, completely different detail, bro.
Look very professional. Look like those old ones.
No more fat chicks. There were no more fat chicks there.
Yeah,
during the convention. How odd. How odd. All the details are equal, and some are more equal than others.
Boy, sounds like Animal Farm.
Yeah.
Pamela Clifton, happy Friday, guys. Thank you, Pamela. Randy H with $20. Thank you. And Po Veng. Barnes mentioned that the deep state's smartest move was to put Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What?
What?
Is to put in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but it'd be extremely hard having to jump Biden and Harris. Oh, in terms of a candidate? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a candidate?
Oh, now? You talking about now? I don't think that's going to happen, but
okay.
All right. That's half serious, I think, by Barnes. But maybe not. I don't know. I didn't hear.
He
might have a whole theory behind it.
I don't know. Now we know what the whole dots in the Pac-Man game were. That's cute. Well played, Jenny. Carl Burkhalter. Glad Super Chat is working now. Maybe the regime is afraid of the questions we might ask.
Well, CrowdStrike runs the Super Chats, as you're well aware.
Let's hope not. Dick Dickerson, the straight out Super Chat. Thank you. Can you two do a show on the Texas Rangers and how the Comanches kicked their butts for a while? A good book on the subject is Empire of the Summer Moon.
Oh, I'm going to check it out. Thanks, man. I'm going to check it out. I don't know anything about that. The Texas Rangers, I know, are the world champions. So,
yeah, well, you know who
what
kicked a lot
about
of
George
ass?
Wallace?
Well, I'm going to pull it up.
I'm sorry.
You know who kicked a lot of ass was Geronimo.
Geronimo was tough. Yeah, they finally made that deal with Geronimo to take him off the field to play.
Right.
They promised.
He disagreed.
He said, where do I sign? This is pretty good. They treated him like a king, Geronimo.
Yep. Dennis Foster, did George Wallace have Secret Service protection when he was shot?
Yes, I think he did. Yeah, I think he did. Because it starts in 1968. But you know what? I take that back because he may not have been considered a major candidate. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's something that's worth exploring.
I think so because they're, it's depicted in Taxi Driver that the Secret Service is guarding their Wallace-like candidate, and Travis Bickle shows up and interacts with the Secret Service and talks to him. But if that's a true representation, it's supposed to be the Wallace assassination or attempt on Wallace.
Okay.
He legally should have by 1969. They were giving it to presidential candidates. The only caveat is he may have been considered not a major candidate.
Okay, no, I think that he did have it.
Yeah.
Because they're saying that it's a part of, there's a page at secretservice.gov and it's in their timeline.
Okay.
So I think, why
Well,
would it
there's
be
stuff
on
we're
there?
going to cover on Nixon with Bremer that's going to be very interesting out of Milwaukee. Once we'll talk about it if you come down to the meetup. Remind me to talk to you about the Bremer connection to Nixon, which a lot of people may find very interesting.
All right. Shannon Ewing, love your shirt, Mark.
Yeah, that's a cool one, right?
Watergate bugs me. I was commenting before we came online. Dick Dickerson gave 10 more memberships.
You know, this Dickerson guy, something about he's addicted to memberships. He's going to go to rehab over this thing.
He's so generous. Oh my God. Joey Z gifted 10 memberships. Thank you. Pew Pew's not going to be left out of this.
Okay.
10
Pew.
memberships.
55 Pew, 10. Wow.
Dick Dickerson's not having it, Mark.
You know what?
50.
Oh, wow. He just crushed the guy. That's sad.
And he followed up with suck it.
Oh, dude, he's really sticking it to him. He's spiking the football. I don't know if that's allowed. I think that's called taunting. Is that a foul? I think that's a foul now.
I don't know.
In the NFL, taunting.
I don't know. But
and he comes back with a 50.
We have over 1,000 members. There's 4,000 people watching here. Eventually, Dickerson himself is going to have everybody be a member who's watching. Wow.
At YouTube, they're going like, YouTube's looking down, going, what the hell's going on over there? You told me this was a nothing channel. They're giving out memberships like cocaine at a frat party.
No kidding. No kidding. Just, we got a Dickerson. Screw you, YouTube. We got a Dickerson. Rustus Android was sobbing for a bit after the events last week at the thought of what might have been. So glad he is still with us. Dorothy Kilgallen is spinning in her
Yeah, if she was alive today, she could have gotten an interview with the guy before he was killed and then not published it and said that she has the answers to the Trump assassination attempt. So that's really dark.
Actually, in all seriousness, we were talking about that, and a lot of people were weeping.
Yeah, I was
after that or during it. I know that I was not, but I was just in shock. Like I didn't know what to do or say, and just try to not look or be ridiculous. I mean, I'm like, oh
Did
shit!
You see
I'm
that
on the
bobblehead?
air.
You see that bobblehead they're selling?
They're selling that?
Yes. No. I gave you that. That was from a page that they're selling.
Oh Jesus! Okay.
That's a pro-Trump. Yeah, it's right out of the Trump campaign.
Oh my God, that's insane! Wow. Sunshine Shelley/Pam was the one night stand Woody had who injured his jaw because she couldn't climax. Oh,
right.
Okay.
He'd get pubic hairs in the back of his throat.
Nice. Tommy Cui Bono trumpet. Well, okay, I will tell you one person who could have benefited, and I'm not even saying this true, but Nikki Haley would have probably been Republican nominee.
Like. Yeah.
Nikki Haley is very much.
How about Biden? How about Mr. Big? I'm running against Nikki Haley now. I mean, Trump goes away and Nikki Haley's my competition.
Well, the thing is, though, isn't that not the perfect thing for the deep state? You have the military-industrial complex. Well, they already got plenty out of Biden for Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nikki Haley doesn't want to stop with Ukraine. Why not Iran? Why not everything else? I mean, there's not a conflict she doesn't love.
I think there would be such a drop in Republican turnout if he had not come out the way he did and Nikki Haley replaced him. I don't think anybody would have the emotion to go to the polls and pull the lever.
But again, so what? They've got both sides.
Yeah.
Lots of money. There's plenty here. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, Speaker Johnson mentioned Trump was wounded 47 miles from where George Washington got shot up. 47.
Oh, that's weird.
Interesting.
That's weird. And, the mayor of Chicago celebrated by removing the George Washington statue from City Hall yesterday.
Yeah, why not? As a communist anyway. Dustin said, I'm for Michelle O for Pope. Better chance than Prez.
Yeah, he's probably right, Dustin. I mean, the Pope thing looks like it's corrupt. How do you become Pope? The whole campaign seems like
the conclave, whatever.
Yeah, it's like wide open for corruption, and that they have absentee ballots you can mail in from other churches. I mean, the whole thing needs to be investigated.
Wow. Bass player 2011 Iffy or Afai for Butler, PA. Think Bakersfield, California. Small towns, farmland, and parks. Also, despite the circumstances, I look forward to your future meetup in Pittsburgh to discuss the events of the 13th. We were in Youngstown, guys. That was 30 miles.
Pretty close. You weren't there, were you, bro? You weren't there in Youngstown, but now you want us to come right outside your door. Give me a break. We had Vince on. Vince was giving us a pretty good explanation. Thanks for the donation, by the way. He gave us a pretty good explanation of Butler, PA, I think, on the show last week, talking about this, how it is like, I don't know if it's like Bakersfield, but he was describing it as Trump country.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I believe that. And I haven't decided. I may be going up there at the end of the month to, take a drone. I would like to have a drone, literally look at the angles and some stuff like that, where I just feel like my hands are tied. I have to live with whatever footage is there. And I can't help but think of Dealey Plaza and how important it is to go walk and go, holy shit, this place is small.
Well, it might be a
huge.
crime scene right now still.
Well, that's why I'm talking about like the end of the month. So
okay.
Another couple of weeks. And we'll see. I mean, if it looks too weird, then I might not. Christopher Ebden, if local PD unable, then top county, if not them, get state police to assist with security outside the Secret Service perimeter. You know what? That's something that I think would be really a great idea. This is not only an assassination attempt, it is a murder.
Yeah.
And the
murder attempt.
And the locals or the state of Pennsylvania should be investigating that homicide.
Well, it becomes federal. It becomes federal because he's a presidential candidate. I think it trumps that.
The fire chief is not. So I'm saying, that is a homicide. And I think they have every right to.
Oh yeah, but good luck sharing that stuff with them. Good luck.
Another set of eyes.
Yeah.
John Doe, what do you say? Ross Perot represented oil, or who do we say he represented? Oil?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, HW represented oil, so why would they need Ross Perot?
Yeah.
He was kind of a self-made billionaire computer guy.
Right. He was an interesting guy. They said they were going to kill his daughter, remember?
Yeah, he dropped out, went back in.
They thought he said his daughter was going to be kidnapped.
Stephen McMahon, Joe might want revenge when they force him out and tell stuff they want suppressed. Maybe he will succumb surprisingly to COVID. I think the COVID routine.
The COVID routine is interesting. What do you think of that, Eric?
I think that is a perfect way to say,
beautiful.
I'm recovering, but it's taking me some time here. I have to focus on my job and finishing out my presidency properly. I don't have the time and energy to campaign and do my job. I love my country too much. I've got to give it. I want it to be an open campaign, so it could be democratic. It's very last minute, and I want my fellow Democrats to take care of this country behind me.
Something
and I
just
will
like
hold
that.
it until then. Some bullshit. Steve McMahon, Blagojevich and Senator Jackson were railroaded. Or took action that was definitive of corruption. Someone running them out.
Yeah, Obama. Yeah, that's who wanted him out. I mean, they both went to prison as soon as he became president. I mean, it was Illinois politics.
Joshua Turnage. The Democratic nomination ticket is Newsom and Michelle VP. The Dems will be upset if they lose the African American. But it's not Michelle. It's not Michelle. I promise it's not Michelle. Newsom, agree. White Strat 64, probably a great guitar. Thanks so much, both of you smart guys. Thank you very, very much. Rustus Android. YouTube Super Chats is seriously censoring anything you might be saying around the events of last week. Just letting you know, it's crazy. I had to water down my comment 5 times. Yes. One thing to please keep in mind is YouTube, first, don't like Trump. Second, they hate violence. YouTube's really, really, really picky about any kind of violence or perception of violence or anything
Who
else.
mentioned violence?
No, they're talking about the YouTube super chats are being suppressed. They're having trouble, getting anything out. So if you take 2 things that YouTube loathes, which is saying anything decent about Trump or anything decent about, somebody conservative, then you compound that with anything that had a gun in the zip code. YouTube is actually so bad right now that they demonetized all the firearms channels a few years ago, right? And their excuse, the advertisers, they didn't like it. So now, though, there are actual gun company advertisers, not those that necessarily sell guns per se, but, either in the kind of gun world. YouTube, and they're sponsoring shows on gun channels. YouTube is banning sponsorships from any gun-associated company. So just keep that in mind.
This
folks.
guy has got to be called before the Senate or the House of Representatives on their one of those committees about media. And get this, what is it? The Indian communist guy who runs this thing? The guy from India, the Google guy.
Yeah, he's Indian. Yeah. The
right,
former,
that guy's got to be called
his name.
before Congress. Forget about Zuckerberg. I think Zuckerberg shot his load, and he's kind of like the guy who used to run
Dorsey.
He's
He's
kind of like
Dorsey
a Jack Dorsey at this point.
He's starting to be. He's all into surfing, and he's what does he want, man?
We forgot to cover. We got to cover what's his name, Max Boot and his honeypot Chinese wife.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on, Hunley. We've got a couple of stories here we still haven't covered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't help that everybody has been so incredibly generous.
All right. Well, we'll get back to him. I just want to get this story.
We will. Now, Max Boot also wrote a book on one of the people we covered, right?
Max Boot was also the international advisor, foreign policy advisor to Mark Rubio at a number of years ago. And he has a Chinese wife, albeit South Korean, but that I consider that Chinese, who was a CIA analyst, quote unquote, who's now been indicted under the FARA Act for being a foreign agent for South Korea. This is a very interesting case, and Max Boot has been a never Trumper extraordinaire, right, Eric?
Yep, he's also Russian-born.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of meat on this Max Boot bone. There's a guy, and he has classic arguments, if I remember, with Tucker Carlson and some other people he's debated over the years. Touche, Mr. Boot. Touche. I mean, this is really interesting. Look how many guys have this, Eric. Eric Swalwell had the Chinese honeypot. What's his name? The turtle has one. Les Moonves had one at CBS. I mean, how many? What's that?
Rupert Murdoch.
Rupert Murdoch has one. I mean, there's so many.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell, definitely. Yeah. Les Moonves did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just bizarre. It really is bizarre. But this is the ultimate deep state honeypot right here.
Couldn't happen to it.
Well, the Swalwell one fled back to China after he said they were onto her. And the FBI said to Swalwell, "You're the only one who knows this. The only one we told was you, fucko."
But he's still not locked up, right? He's still this one making stupid comments in the House.
Yeah. By the way, Adam Schiff, because RFK didn't have the chutzpah to run for the Senate, has got a big lead over Garvey, as the other Democratic candidates were afraid were going to happen in the runoff. And there's a guy named Nathan Hochman, I believe, we had on last week. Nathan Hochman. I won't say anything, but we'll have Nathan Hochman next Friday. But getting back to Garvey and Schiff, he could have run for the Senate, RFK, and I'm urging him to run for the governorship of California, which we have a year and a half out of 2 years out of running. So that would give him enough time to switch over from his massive presidential campaign, which seems to be just involving tweets about issues at this point, to actually running a campaign for the governor of California. So we'll see what happens. I've made some inroads. I made some inroads personally and privately inside the RFK campaign about the governorship. So there is motion right now. It's in his court. Put it this way. It's in his court right now.
Well, let's see if he acts on it.
This is another one of my harebrained schemes.
I want to see if he acts on it or if he's just a jester.
Right. No, he could just be a guy who's an idea guy, who's, a campaign of ideas, not really interested in ruling or running a government office. Wouldn't be the first.
Yep. No. Totally.
I mean, why does Jill Stein run every? Does Jill Stein think this year is going to be the year? I mean, why does Cornel West do it? For ideas, just to get into the zeitgeist. Cornel West doesn't think he's going to win. Jill Stein doesn't think he's going to win. And I think, of course, Robert F. Kennedy doesn't think he can win. So what is it? I mean, is it delusional? No, it's a campaign of ideas.
Okay. I saw this article pass by earlier. I didn't want to share with you because I want to consult you. I had told you about this incident when I was in Ohio, this guy who kind of got out of pickup and he just doubled over. It's like really weird activity. What? And then when I was in Vegas, I happened to stay in a really bad part of town when I was doing the Barnes event. And I had people like that around me. Mm-hmm. And I guess this is called the fentanyl fold. Can you tell me about what the hell is going on?
It's just another nod. It's just another nod. I mean, junkies nod in weird positions. D.H. Pellegro is an old friend of mine. He nodded out one time on his right arm, and he had to be the arm. He was nodded out on the arm, and he had to have an entire series of wooden pegs and a cast on this arm for like half a year because he had done so much damage to nodding out on the arm. The famous drummer for the Chili Peppers and the Dead Kennedys, ironically. Junkies nod in weird places. They end up nodding in weird positions, and that's one of them. I'll just leave it at that.
That's wild. Okay, so back to happy stuff. Super chat. Rufus Android said, I second an Oklahoma visit. I'm in Tulsa, where Dorothy Kilgallen is interred.
Is that true?
Is she from there?
She's
love it if you guys come to Middle Country.
We have to know where you live so we can make a ruling on it, how far you live from Tulsa.
That's right.
Itself.
Yeah,
we can't make a ruling.
City? Maybe it should be there if you're in Tulsa.
Well, no, he says Tulsa, right? How far do you live from Tulsa?
He said he is in Tulsa.
Oh, then
so
we can't possibly go there. You live there, bro.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now. Come on, man. What is it by noises? Gray Ghost. Do you believe there will be another attempt on Brea?
Yes, I do. I think there'll be a couple of them.
It's ramping. Yeah. Kirk Burkhalter, super chat wouldn't work on Tuesday.
Well, it's working now, Carl. It's working now.
And I'm thankful it is. Yeah, Tuesday was very light on super chats.
What happened Tuesday? I don't know.
That was hectic. PD, looking forward to 2110 when all the documents on the event will be released.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's the truth.
Who's going to be the Jim Garrison on this case? Maybe the person we have on next Friday will be involved in it. We'll see.
I don't know.
Will there be a district attorney who's willing to step up?
I don't know. K-Dog, how can they justify passing over Harris for a white guy? Open convention.
Open convention. What do you mean?
Sorry.
Who is they?
Yeah, the Democrats.
The Democrats.
They have super delegates, guys. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Super delegate can do whatever they're told to do.
Yep. And it's built into their system. That's why if you ever want to see a candidate who's going to try to come in from the outside and change things, it's got to be the Republicans, because the Democrats have safeguards to prevent any outsider from getting in there.
Right. And that's the super delegates, which the Republicans don't have.
Nope. Rick Kyle, cannot let them hide behind the sources and methods or active investigation anymore.
Well, specifically in this case, because that's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. It's too much of an outrage. It was too public an event. Too many people are emotionally embroiled in what happened Saturday, and those emotions are not going to dissipate very quickly.
Yep. Brian C. Gamecock cannot display any negative comments about SS gal holstering, etc. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Is that part of their blocking? Their
I can whatever. We'll see. I'm sure this is demonetized, guys. But thank God you guys are coming in strong because, get demonetized. We got demonetized for Tuesday, dude.
What do we do Tuesday?
They're talking about Kennedy and stuff. I mean, anyway.
Right.
It's just sickening.
Okay, it's all here in the Coven. It's all in this one book by E. Howard Hunt.
Okay, Rustus Androids, he's sticking to it. He's saying, I live near
Tulsa. How close, bro? How close is near?
Away from Tulsa?
How close is near? Out there, you're near maybe 250 miles.
Which is good. Which
is good. You're in the game if you're 250. Not if you're 5 miles away. That's near Tulsa. How far exactly, bro?
We want to know. Hey, Damaso Flores, thank you very much. Lady Freddie, ex-Illinois governor, had sentenced commuter by Trump after 8 years.
No, we know that, right? But did he switch to the Republican Party? Is my question, because he was acting as if he was a Republican bigwig at the convention. I was a little confused.
He could be a Democrat for Trump.
I don't know. I'm saying somebody must know, because I tweeted at him and I said, "Did you switch parties?" I didn't see the press release on that.
Yeah,
you can exit somebody now. I X'd him is a verb.
Okay,
like a tweet. Instead of I tweeted, you go I X'd.
Yeah,
I heard that last night and I went, "What the hell does that mean?" X'd.
Okay, well that's better than Elon tweeted was a thing. I mean, this whole X post.
He fucked up. He keeps putting up polls every month.
That's not him. That's a parody account. It looks like
somebody. There's one that he put up about X originally. To see how many people like it.
Yeah, let me see.
He's got to come up with 45 million a month now, so he's really got to write some big checks, Eric.
He only has $200 billion. I see 4,500. It's
no,
like
45 million. 45 million a month.
Well, 45 million a month. Okay, so we've got 4 months, 5 months. We're talking about just over 200 million. So that's out of his 200 billion. I don't know. Maybe it'll eat up his interest for a month or something.
Yeah, it's got to go up against those twins who were in the Zuckerberg movie too. Ironically, the twins are giving
the Winklevoss.
Yeah, they're giving crypto like a couple million in crypto.
Well, if the computers go down, that won't help. Russia's Android. However far I need to be to get you out here, do it for Dorothy.
However far, you need to be 250 miles from Tulsa, bro, and you have to establish a residence there, live there for over 6 months, and have your voting done from there.
That's right.
Call us in 6 months.
We want to see an electric bill.
You got to have an electric bill and a phone bill.
And your library card.
From wherever the hell 250 miles is from Tulsa, wherever God decided to put that place.
For sure. All right, folks.
Didn't we go to Dallas? Can't you go to Dallas, bro? We've been to Dallas a couple of times. Why can't you just drive to Dallas?
Yeah.
How far is Dallas? That's like right around the corner, right?
Depends, but it is closer to some parts.
Tulsa. How far is Dallas to Tulsa? That's probably the best bet for this guy.
Yeah, I don't know which Oklahoma is nearer to Dallas, but I do know that one of them isn't that far. Like Tiger King is like an hour and a half from there.
You measure places by Tiger King?
No, I just happen to know he's in Oklahoma, and I happen to know that
Oklahoma State Prison or something. Where is he?
Well, now, but I was talking about his ranch or whatever, where all the weirdness is happening. So, but you know what, folks? While you're considering it, you might want to grab a coin like Mark held up earlier.
Oh, yeah, that coin's good.
And you can see it right here.
It's a 4-hour drive, by the way, if people want to drive to, it's 250 miles. It's 250 miles from Tulsa to Dallas. It's outside our limits, so you're perfect. If we go to Dallas and you're 250 miles away in Tulsa, you're in.
Well, if we go to Dallas and he lived in Dallas, it wouldn't matter because we're already going. So they get to sneak under the radar. They just get lucky. But anyway, consider grabbing a coin. You can't make this up. America's Untold Stories. And there's a link in the description, americasuntoldstories.com/coin. We're actually, I think, almost completely sold out.
What? We just made it.
I know. It's gone over really, really well. And there are some that are being made underway right now. And another thing that you can do to help support the show and help support veterans, because by the way, the artist who made this coin is a veteran.
Okay.
And the roastery who makes our wonderful coffee is also a veteran-owned business. Now, these are not Chinese. They're not imported. They're not, these are actual people. He's putting 500 pound bags.
Go ahead. I got 500.
I can't concentrate. It's either you being ridiculous or a boomer soundboard, and I'm not going for it. Get some damn coffee, folks. Get off your ass, drink it. We all get off our asses with it. americasuntoldstories.com/coffee, americasuntoldstories.com/coin. There's a theme here. If you want to go to the events, americasuntoldstories.com/events. A lot of things are happening at americasuntoldstories.com, our website, where we can put these different things. There's even a contact form on there if you want to reach out, and all the messages there get to Mark and me both if you want to submit messages there. But there's another place that you can see us right now. We're going to head over.
Oh, the locals.
So our locals after party. And we're going to keep this going.
It's a long show because there's so much news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have more stories, don't we? We didn't get through all the stories.
No, like some other weeks, we don't get through all the stories.
Well, we could do them on locals then, right?
We could do some on locals. And we also have people who are waiting for us there with comments, commentary, thoughts, and skullduggery. So we will see you at locals.